My cabbages! Low, low, man. My cabbages!
しっかり足を踏み出して、体重を移動しながら腰をひねり、肩に力を伝えて、
Nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Oh, hell no. 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 Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
All of the Somali clips today for you guys. Hope you're here. Hope you're ready for this court stream. This is going to be a good one wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, or night. It is a pleasure to have you here on The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I am Andrew Esquire, American attorney living over here in Asia. And today we are the only channel doing live play-by-play coverage from inside the courtroom of the trial of Ramzi Khalid Ismail, Johnny Somali. This is the only place you're going to get information. We got up to date. I have updates coming in right now to tell you guys as the trial is starting in approximately 28 minutes. And there's a lot of stuff to update you on. There's also some updates on the witnesses that Johnny may call and how that may delay the trial even more. I've got that information for you today, so we're going to get into that before we start. I've also got a little surprise for you. Maybe we're going to play it at the end because we may not have enough time now. We'll see how much time we have before the trial. But there's a little surprise for you in a preview of something special that's coming down the pike. But good to see everybody here. Of course, make sure you smash the like button. If you know, don't have to donate, don't have to do anything else, smash the like button and perhaps drop a comment and share this video out on any platform that you're on, whether that's X, Reddit, whatever you do, Discord, share it out. Let people know we're doing it live today, and this is going to be a dramatic one to say the least. Once again, this trial is the testimony of Bong Bong, the Korean streamer who had a deepfake or multiple deepfakes made of her, as well as dealing with his plea regarding his new charge of obstruction of justice. And as we're finding out today, and I'll just jump into the update because this part is really important. And of course, I've added it to my PP from last night. So we're pulling in last night's PP, which is now longer. That's right. My PowerPoint is now longer. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I'm talking about my PowerPoint. Here's the update. If Ramzi will call witnesses, he has to announce it today. So today we will find out if Ramzi has any support for his side of the story. So some people have speculated he may call Hank. If that's going to come up, we're going to find out today. We're going to know today. Now, those witnesses will not be called today. They would be called a different day, but they would not be called today. They would not be called today. And aside from that, if he calls witnesses, the next hearing is at least going to be 2 months from now. So if he decides to call witnesses, the next hearing is probably going to be in October. Whereas if he does not call witnesses, well, then we might get this moving in September, right? And beyond that, if the judge is not convinced that witnesses are needed, so if the judge is debating whether or not witnesses are needed, then the trial is going to drag out even another month. So I made a prediction that this trial could be over in October, but that's if Johnny does everything necessary to speed it through. So if he does anything that's going to delay it or anything that's going to make it last longer, then it will drag out an additional month. And that will be a problem. That'd be a big problem. Chris Pham says, the Cabbage Farms await Ramzi Khalid Ismail. I agree. Albar Ava gifted 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you. King Lugia gifted 1. Thank you. Zach Bennett gifted 10 legal mindset memberships. Thank you. And Doug Diaz gifted 10 legal mindset memberships. Thank you. Thank you so much. Kevin Coons says my popcorn and root beer is ready. And Devers Missing Integrity La Posadas Disco Inferno says 22 minutes late. That's inappropriate. Blue Dust Bunny. That's a new member. Welcome. Azrael Palma gifted 20 illegal mindset memberships. Thank you so much for that. And then let's see what else we got here. We got Fruity Afternoon from Malaysia. Well, welcome. So once again, thank you, Ms. Royal Palma. Robert Von Beek, thank you. And thank you guys for gifting on Ko-Fi. I appreciate everybody over there, and I see all and try to respond to all the messages over there on Ko-Fi. For those that have gifted over there, understand that's all going toward the team, not just the SCT, but also the mods, etc. Everybody who's helping out with this. Kristen Moore says, happy trial day watching from South Africa. Manichan, is there some PP coming up? Oh, yeah. You know there's always going to be a PP. I'm always going to have a PP when it comes down to this. 100%. Okay. So let's see here. All right. El Nombre gifted the cabin emoji here. And Samuel Robinson says, this is awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Mr. Melancholy says, Somali fears the PP. That'll be on time. I mean, that's what the poll is right now. You guys are 78% sure he's not going to show up on time. That is a pretty strong bias in favor of that. Ambrose Gaming says, you think the court knows about his change of residence? We're going to find that out today too. So if he is hiding that or deceiving that or whatever else, then there is a problem. There's going to be a big problem. So yeah. Let's see. Let's see here. Cindy Collins said, bless the 4 p.m. live I can watch while in the hospital operating room on newborn time, watching my 44-hour-old like a hawk and listening to hubby snore loudly. Oh, that's very sweet. Well, listen, stay diligent, but you can continue to listen in, and I'm glad you're here with me. Just be diligent, okay? Kathy Swamp Queen for 5 says Johnny Somali RKI doesn't show up for court. Does South Korea have a warrant system? By the way, 2:34 in Florida time. You know you're special. Thank you, Kath. Thank you for staying up with me. If you're in the U.S., East Coast, Central, West Coast, thank you for staying up. I know it's really late. I know this is kind of a crazy time to do this, but once again, you know, it's in Korea. It's on the other side of the world, guys, and they set the time not based on what's best for U.S. viewership, but what's best for the court. What's best for the court. All right. Ian says, aloha from Hawaii. Bring him here and we can make a pineapple farm around. Mega Meerkat for $2.99. Thank you so much. Darth Torlin says, Darth Torlin raps. Prison can make you old and forgotten. If you walk out, no crowd will call. Fame fades when built on harm. One day left before the cell door slams and no one cares. Let's see here. And it's not, so let me be very clear. Darth Torlin. Guys, he is not going to be sentenced today. So today is not sentencing day. I've said this 100 million times, but people seem to misunderstand this. Now, Darth Torlin does have great beats, but he is not going to jail today unless he does something in court, like punching the bailiff or doing the Nux thing where he's trying to stick the fingers in the judge's mouth and he gets laid out by the bailiff. He's not going to jail today, guys. Sentencing will be 1 month. It will probably be 2 months from now or 3 months from now. So he will probably be sentenced in October or November. That's my prediction as of now, depending on whether or not he calls witnesses. So if he calls witnesses, it might even be December. But today is not the sentencing day. Korea intentionally drags the process out. The process is the punishment, right? The process and having to pay for that, having to be outside of court is the punishment in this case. So that's what's going on here with that. All right. Gamercron says, did not sleep for this. Let's go. Let's go of the farm. That's right, the cabbage farm. Jessica Carp says, I call surprise witness Hank's spank rag. Oof. Nicholas Cruiser for 10 says, was cool seeing you doing the debate with Sean. Yeah, Sean's a good guy. Once again, I have a lot of people on. I may have my good friend Ozzy on because people have been trying to push me to comment on the Jobs lawsuit, and I need to get more information on Australia law before I do that one. So I may recruit my good friend Ozzy, but we're getting the band back together. We're hanging out more on Legal Mindset with other lawyers. I like that. Black Room Rob says, good day. Tuned in a cool winter afternoon here in Oz. Suffer. Awesome. Larry Power says, what time does the court end? What if witnesses don't finish? Will the judge recess until tomorrow? Explain how Korean court differs from the United States. Korean court is very, very different. They're going to go till it's finished. Now, they do have some semblance of the thing about Korea is they do everything fast. So this could be over in 5 minutes or this could be over in 2 hours. But whichever way it is, they will do it as fast as they physically can do it. So, yeah. Let's see. Natalie Braithwaite says, I may be dealing with an effective wisdom, but I'm not RKI. Emotional cabbage. Let's drop an emotional cabbage here.
Emotional cabbage.
Okay. And then we've got tradition time. Legal Mindset. Explain insanity plea. How about...
No. Wait.
Not doing that. Shane Armstrong says almost 3 a.m. here, but here for the S show. No faith that Johnny scrambles his brain cells together and does the right thing, but I'm welcome to be proven wrong. It won't make right, but it's a step. So we'll see. So today, I've said this before, today is probably the last time where Johnny could credibly, and what I mean is credibly is people might believe it. So if Johnny Somali is going to say sorry, and is going to be genuine about it, is going to offer to pay people back or pay people back, really do that and make a genuine turnabout. If he's going to come into the court and plead guilty, today is the day. I don't think if he pushes this in the future, it's something that the judge is going to look kindly on or the court's going to look kindly on. I think today's really that time where if he's accepted that he's going down, he needs to get on his knees and do it today and say, I plead guilty to everything. I'm really sorry. I realize this. Right. Here's my statement that I'm sorry. And I know what I did was wrong. And I know how I did it was wrong, et cetera, et cetera. He needs to do that today. If he doesn't do that today, it's really not going to be credible because he's already fought it out. Now, it's his right to fight it out. But once again, when Korean courts bring stuff to court, when the prosecutors bring things to court, they have the evidence. They don't bring stuff that they don't have the evidence. That's why it's so damning that he has all of these charges. He has 8 charges. Because what this means is, let me show this over here. What this means is that the court believes, the prosecutor believes that they can prove all of these charges and they have the evidence. They have a 95+% conviction rate. So once again, I am not betting on Somali to beat the 95% conviction rate. I'm just not. By the way, guys, we have almost 6,000 people in the chat right now. If you guys could smash the like button, that would be appreciated. And I'm going to read off some of the updates from the court. So I'm going to give you some information here from the courtroom. Once again, this is live. So right now, the courtroom is relatively empty, and most people are outside. So now, I've got people there, including one surprise person that I can't tell you that he was there, but they're there. And after the thing is finished, I'm going to tell you who it is, but I can't tell you right now. I'm going to leak the surprise after. Also, I have another surprise with some other stuff too that may probably come up afterwards. Maybe before. We'll see if we have time. But yeah. So it's going to be a surprise. Chat, you're totally wrong. Chat is wrong. Chat is 100% wrong. All right. But right now, Hank is not in the courtroom. Most people, and I actually do not support this. I do not support harassing Johnny as he comes into the courtroom, only because, listen up, this is the important thing. As the side that is in the right, because the side that is anti-Somali, anti-Johnny is in the right here, it diminishes everybody for these people to be, standing outside to harass him or yell at him, etc. That's what Johnny would do, right? So engaging in infantile behavior is not really there. They should really be going in and sitting down and being respectful, right? So anybody that's outside and is trying to cause a scene is probably there. And I know that some of them may be streamers, is probably doing it for clout or attention or etc. They're sinking to his level. And generally with Johnny, don't sink to his level, because what he wants you to do, and what a lot of the IRL streamers that are a problem want you to do, is they want you to engage on their level. They want you to fight with them, yell at them, press them, scream at them. The best thing you can do is not play their game. The best thing you can do with pigs is not get in the mud. The second you get in the mud with the pig, you're a pig too, right? You're a pig too. So that's my kind of take on that. Whenever I attend, and by the way, I will be attending hearings in the future. I'm not there today, but I will be there in the future. Once again, I've said it's a surprise when I will attend or not attend, right? And I will attend hearings, right? However, you really can't get down and do that with those guys, because it's just below. It's not what should be done. It's not right. It's not right. Right. And the same thing goes with stuff like doxing. They do doxing and harassment all the time. That doesn't make it okay. And I actually had people message me saying, well, it should be okay to dox Johnny or to talk about his parents or do this and that because he does this stuff. No, that doesn't make it right. Two wrongs don't make it right. And that is completely flawed thinking. Angel LR, thank you for the 10 Legal Minds and memberships. Mama Fox says, I'm staying up for this. God, I hope justice is served today. Me too. Cat Weasel says, I'm working on one laptop and look on another. There we go. Original Doc, member for 2 months, says, thank you, LM. Somali SCT chats, mod, and justice time. It is indeed justice time. We'll put it back up, this new information. 3 Beers, welcome back as a new member, and good to see you over there on Locals. Jordan Joseph said, Mabuhay, over there from the Philippines with 125 Philippine pesos. Waiting for Johnny Somali in prison before my birthday on August 18th. RK screwed. Hey, well, happy birthday. I have a good friend actually visiting me from the Philippines on the 18th. A little coincidence there. Melody says, have my breakfast ready. Good morning for Denmark. Hey, get that coffee too. I didn't get a chance to get coffee, but I got water, which is much healthier. I'll have a coffee after this. Water does wake me up quite well. So I'll be hydrated today. Warranty Boy for 20 Legal Mindset memberships.
Emotional cabbage.
Dustin Doyle as a new member, and One Case Wolf says after time in Korean jail, he needs time in U.S. jail. Well, once again, we do not yet have any U.S. charges. And once again, I am very objective. I tell you guys the truth, not what you want to hear. Right now, he's not charged in the U.S. Is there some future in which he might be? Sure, but not right now. Yurdis83 gifted 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much. Yes. V just got out of work. Well, I'm glad to hear that. AG Biochemist says, lawman and his PP. Suffer Johnny. Eugene Tio for 298 Singapore says, will we know sentencing? No, we will not. Max Poppin says, would he yell at the press this time or get lost in the stairwell? Thanks for covering it. My pleasure. As of now, let's double check. I'm going to check in. I got to make sure I keep this thing open. No, it is still right now in the courtroom 406. There is still a violation of privacy hearing going on, and they're showing testimony and evidence. So they pack these things full. So these court days are packed full. They don't stop. The judge just works on through the whole day. They have a crazy work ethic that I respect a lot. Josh Strive says, as a night shift worker in the U.S., thanks for finally streaming on a superior time slot. You're welcome. Askman Gold. Thank you for the one. Mr. Melancholy says, good morning from Texas. Cabbages are a calling. Everyday Winning says, congrats, new mama. I actually woke up for my turn to watch our 5-day-old newborn and let my wife sleep while I watch Sweet Cabbage. This is awesome. Well, congratulations to you and your family, and I wish the best for you guys. I hope you raise your child to learn from the lessons of Johnny Somali not to do that, right? And that's one thing that really is going out there, is to make sure that the new generations don't follow down the Somali path. Boots Mama as a new member. Then welcome. Light Sky says, perfect evening entertainment here in New Zealand. Wine, popcorn, and a nuisance streamer getting what they deserve. Agreed. Alilo for $5.99 says, listening in at work from Vienna. Oh, Vienna. Grüezi. Grüß Gott, actually, rather, Grüß Gott. P.S. Ananas pizza is the best pizza. Yes, I always love a good melange. Hackfish WS for €2 says, Mom and Trill fans are present here. Uncle Mindset, shout out to Mom and Trill. Also, apparently, who is this guy? Somebody just entered the courtroom, and I don't know who this is. So let me look this guy in. I guess he's like another Kick streamer. Okay, there is another Kick streamer that entered the courtroom. So I think there's other Kick streamers that are trying to clout jack off of this and get in this. So Johnny, I don't know whether it's a Johnny ally or somebody who's trying to just watch this or whatever, but there are other Kick streamers coming in the courtroom. That is a update live from the courtroom right now, is that it's relatively empty, but a Kick streamer has entered the courtroom. So there we go. And once again, not all kick streamers are bad. I've met some really cool ones. I don't know this guy. I don't know what his relation to Somali is. He may be an enemy of Somali. He may be a friend of Somali. I have no idea. James Anglin says, this has helped me. I was mad because of a power outage that kept me awake because the heat. I now know what happened just so I can watch this live for once. Awesome. Silent Spirit says, you think RK would be desperate enough to swing at the judge if someone paid him? It will not happen. He will not make it. The bailiff is huge. And physically, there are 3 tables and the actual podium, which is elevated between Somali and the judge. He is a shrimp with no athleticism. There is no way he would make it. The bailiff would break him in half. The bailiff looked like he's like a, Korean UFC fighter. This guy is huge. Ving Ving, thank you. Wild Love says, just woke up to play Long Long for the Long Long Man play-by-play. Awesome. Smash that like button says Danish to the core. We've got a big Scandinavian feud today. I should keep track on which Scandi country donates the most because you guys are very competitive. Dad Kid for 10 says it's way past my bedtime. First time getting to watch live. So the hell with it. We ball. Maserol Palma for 100 Czech krona says arguing with idiots is useless. They drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. That's exactly right. That's why I didn't do it. That's why I got out of there. That first time I was there, I got out of there ASAP because I did not want to get down in there with these people and start arguing with a bunch of idiots. And that's not what I'm going to do. And that's not about my channel. This is about objectivity. It's about entertainment, right? And it's about professionalism. And I try to be as professional as I can. We still have fun, but I try to keep it professional. Robert Von Beek for 5 months. Beautiful how the world comes together. It really is. It really is. Devil's Advocate says one step closer to Johnny convicted on all charges, all 8 charges. Once again, we'll go back to that. And once again, he would serve up to 12 years in prison. James Wild gifted 50 legal mindset memberships. This thing's a special.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
And then for Tito with 20, thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Johnny and Hank will be seething when they see how many people watch this today. The number one thing they hate is how many people watch the stream, how many people pay attention to the trial, and how many people are engaged in what's going on. James Anglin became a new member. Welcome. Let's see. Tatted Explorer for 400. Siroy says, well, that's my sunny Bangkok day gone. Tuned in and ready. Is it raining outside? I have my curtains drawn, but okay. We'll see later. I'm going to be locked up here for a while, so I ain't going outside for a while, but it's been lovely in Bangkok lately. Kin Fam gifted 1 legal mindset membership. Let's see. The Jack says, love your content and great job with your shout out on Tech 10 and other channels. Interested in your expat content. Cool. Well, if you ever want to relocate, you can email me, andrew@live@gmail.com. But I'm going to kind of be doing a rebrand of some of my stuff, focusing kind of just on Thailand. So we're going to have a kind of new channel spin coming out soon. Jonas Verbellin says for 10 euros, I made it one time. May God keep you and protect you, Andrew. And I wish Johnny gets the judgment he deserves. I absolutely could not agree more. And thank you for the blessings. Same to you and your family. Gio as a new member. Welcome. Clan says, as long as for 50 Danish krona, as long as Denmark is higher on the donor list than Sweden, I'm happy. Okay. Now see what we're happy. We're starting Scandinavian World War III here in my chat. This is not good. This is not good. Ashnader 91 is a new member. La Waffles for 15 Malaysian ringgit. Here's the RKA's journey to payback for all he's done. And I know this is a Johnny Somali thing. What are your thoughts on the Schlepp situation? I have not done research. Guys, when I am on a topic, I am in a topic. I barely have time to research outside of the main topics I cover. I hyper focus on a limited number of topics. So I do not know right now. I'll look into it, but I don't know right now. Richard Doc says, so glad to catch such an important live. Forgive me if I pass out. It's 32 Celsius here in UK. And like Vitaly, we don't have AC. How is it that okay, Europeans, can you explain this to me? How is it that I have traveled to many countries that have far lower GDPs and they have AC and you don't? I'm just saying that it's very functional. It does work. As someone who lived in Miami, I'm living in Southeast Asia right now, and even in Korea and Japan, they've got AC, right? They're developed countries, guys. Come on, Europe. What's wrong? I know what it is. It's regulatory stuff. That's a whole separate thing about regulatory stuff for air conditioning, but whatever. James Bellamy says, thank you for your coverage for the last few years. Can't wait to hear the final results and see him convicted. That's true. James Anglin So I'm confused about the statue incident. Is that still being treated as a higher crime because of the insinuation behind it, or did that fall in line with the disruption of business? No, he is not charged. Here are his charges. None of these are for the statue. The statue was not a crime. It was offensive. It was not a crime. Let me say this again. The statue was not a crime. What they did was, after Johnny did that, they changed the law. So in the future, it's a crime. But right now, it's not. Or sorry, when he did it, it's not. And they can't charge him because that's what's called ex post facto. You can't pass a law and then charge somebody retroactively. That's not how it works. People have to have notice of the law when they're, violating it, whatever. You can't just backdate a law and then arrest everybody for it. That's not how that works. So no, he's actually not brought up on that. So that's one of the things that is it's in misinformation from Johnny. Johnny has been pushing the misinformation that he's charged for the statute. He's not. He's charged mostly for obstruction of business, for Minor Crimes Act, which is the rotting fish harassment, twerking, and loud music on the metro, and deepfakes, sexual deepfakes. Deepfakes of a sexual nature. One of the Korean YouTuber Youngman, which I actually spelled wrong. His name is spelled Yongman. I spelled it Youngman. It's Youngman, Yongman. In Korean, of course, right? In Hangul, of course. Of him naked making out with Hank with their, privates exposed. And then Bong Bong, and several deepfakes of Bong Bong in sexual situations, kissing, etc., which is considered sexual, with Johnny Somali. The other Paul for 10 says, good day, just joined. So if already answered, mea culpa, how, if all, would a conviction affect his U.S. record upon deportation? Is there a procedure in DOJ in Korea? As soon as if he goes to jail, he will never see daylight in Korea again. He will go to Korea jail, and then as soon as he finishes, he'll be put on a plane and deported to the U.S. That's how that'll go. Willie Will for 100. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yes. Good morning from NYC. Hail chat, mods, and the 199. Shout out to the 199. Thank you for that. Thank you for the support. Appreciate all that. Very based. And guys, I am going from largest to smallest here. So if I see a really big one, I get that one, but I will get everybody. So don't worry if I skipped yours or whatever, I'm going to get back to it. Shala for 10 says, 1 a.m. You're going to be tired for work at 8 a.m., but I've got to be here for this live. Thanks for all the hard work. Much appreciated. And we're getting some updates here. So I'm going to take one more and we're going to roll. Katuma B says, glad my night owl habits have come in handy. Greetings from North Central Iowa. Well, greetings to you guys around the world. All right. Let's do it here, guys. I'm going to get on let's see, what will we go here? We'll go on the information page here. So this is what we got to get here. So let's get some updates live from the court. The new interpreter has arrived in the courtroom. The current hearing has ended. They're going to call Ramzi Khalid Ismail in a moment. The judge is taking a 5-minute recess. So this is rare. In Korean court, it is very rare for the judge to take a recess. Usually they power through. This indicates to me that the judge anticipates this may be very dramatic, this may be very long, this may be very complicated, so he needs to take a little break. So the judge is actually taking a 5-minute break here, which is very interesting. Ramsey's lawyer is here. Ramsey's lawyer scanned the room and he left. He literally, so Ramsey's lawyer looked at members of the SCT. So he looked at members of the SCT and kind of gave him a glance, and then he left the room. Johnny was not in the room. So he might have been looking for Johnny. Johnny was not there. So they're getting a little break before Johnny. What if he doesn't show up? If he doesn't show up, that is contempt of court. He can be punished for that. That is a big thing. So we're at the point where we'll give it 5 minutes before we declare him late, because if the judge is taking a recess, then he's not late till after the judge comes back from that recess. But if in 5 minutes Johnny is not there, then he is late, and the judge can punish him for that. Absolutely. Dirty Fucks Dangles, became a new member. Dead Rat says, I've got 3 hours. Hopefully it isn't too long. I don't think it'll be over 3. It could be 2, though. This could be 2. Brit F for 500 Norwegian krona says, here's some money from Norway. Keep Sweden down at the top. Bro, why is Denmark and Norway, are you guys, is this like a conspiracy to keep them down? Are we going to have to like call the Finns here to back up the Danes? I don't know how this goes. I don't know how the beefs go in Scandinavia. Jonas Verbellen as a new member. Glacia Aquila Nikiforos Fedlim says, whichever country loses a dono wars has to claim Vitali. Yes. Yeah, no. Has to claim Vitali and Somali. Has to claim Vitali in Somali. I have to do like a total afterwards. Which country? I will try to do that afterwards. Like which country won the dono wars? Because I can't do it live. I have to pull out the calculator. But after this ends, I will like go back and try to scroll up and get the countries donos. That will be hilarious. Zuki said, good luck to Bong Bong today. I agree. Termally Tom says, what will happen if he doesn't show up? Contempt of court. 12 Spoons with Rose says, will he wear something obnoxious like his MAGA hat? If he wears the MAGA hat, or if he wears the Kanye black outfit, I'm not going to call it a certain club outfit because people objected to that and whatever and whatever. Just we'll call it the Kanye outfit. If he wears the Kanye outfit, he's going to be in contempt of court. Matt Davis is my guest for special guest Satoshi. I'm not saying anything until afterwards. Patty Hugh Talon says RKI gets deported to the U.S. and refused entry. I don't think they refuse of entry. They'd bring him in and perhaps, talk to him. Music and fiction for 5. So just walked in and I'm curious. For the obstruction penalties, is it 5 years, 5 million won per charge? That is the total they can give for that particular class of charges. So for the obstruction, they can give no more than 5 years for even a bunch of those charges. So let's say they convict him on all of those. The maximum they can give is 5 years. So they could give him the max because they could say, okay, we give you a year and a half on all of them, but that kind of comes out, or a year and a quarter, whatever. And that comes out to 5 years, right? So each one, a year and a quarter, which is 5 years in aggregate. Deepfake's maximum is 7. So the total maximum that he can get is 12 years. Once again, Korea is not, I've never lied to you guys. Korea is not a jurisdiction that likes to give out a lot of time in jail. It does not. A lot of other channels are inaccurately reporting the guidelines, the sentencing guidelines, and the estimates because they don't know how to add and they refuse to back down from their previous statements. Because in the past, they've said, oh, he's going to be in jail for 10 or 15 or whatever, or 30 or 40. And now when we learned this, I corrected myself. I previously had a higher number until we learned the guidelines and how to apply the guidelines. Once we did that, we corrected ourselves. I've always given accurate information because I don't want you guys to be misled in any way, shape, or form. You guys should know all the accurate information, like all the charges. The interesting thing is we're also going to figure out today, why was he charged with this 4th count of obstruction? Was it a bus? Was it a subway? What was it? We don't know right now. We don't. Mazurva Palma for 200 Czech krona says, regarding European AC, it's a bit inconvenient and quite expensive to drill through a 200-year-old stone walls to install AC. You can regulate the temperature inside with smart ventilation, but you have to pay attention. Well, fair enough. If you're in a good climate. John H. Kruger for 10 euros says, regarding the EU, we built our house with good insulation already, walls, windows, roof, except old or bad buildings. 32 degrees outside is just 26 inside. More can even result in rent reduction. Oh, that's cool. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. That's a big temperature difference. Denmark signing in says, Chris, great to be working and being able to watch Johnny get a vasectomy Somali. Mr. Zalbar says, thanks for your coverage. Ramsey kimchi inchmel, cabbage farmer by day, spicy cabbage snack by night. Definitely he will be in jail. I'll tell you that. John Strife for another 100. The Akasupa. Thank you. Yes. Oh no, guys, why are you guys starting like the next Revolutionary War right now? More red supas from NYC. Keep the Euro poors at the bottom of the donor rankings and let them have our capital. Okay, listen, the guys, come on. You got, as we say in Thailand, we got a sabai here, right? We're all cool, all right? We're on the same team. Don't need to be firing ICBMs right now. We're good. Oh man, Dadel said Denmark owned Sweden and Norway for almost 1,000 years. Okay, this is relevant. This is relevant history that I need to. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but at intervening points, like Sweden had an empire that was pretty big. Denmark had that. Norway had its time, right? They all kind of had their time, right? Melody for 1 legal mindset membership. Thank you. Felzu said for Svedge. I can't say that for Svedge. I timed it. My Nordic languages are bad. Hail the 3 crowns. Warranty for 1,000 Norwegian kroner says total Viking domination. Oh no. Oh, Britt F says here's some more for 500 Norwegian krona. And Kevin said, I can't believe I woke up at the wrong time. None left. Gifted 5 is gifted 10 legal mindset memberships. Melody said to answer your AC question, because we like to suffer clearly during the day. Guy Reg says when RK is out in prison, send him to North Korea. There we go. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Seki said legal mindset saying Akasupa had me for a second. Listen, I'm a cultured man. Okay. Let me read this here. We've got some updates from the courtroom. Let's get it going here. The room is filling up. The lawyer is seated. Hank is in the courtroom, guys. Hank Yu is in the courtroom in the front row. Johnny is not here. Hank has been asked, do you know where Johnny is? He does not know. The judge is still in recess. The bailiff told the lawyer to let them know when Johnny arrives. There's complete silence in the courtroom right now as Hank has left the room to search for Johnny Somali. Guys, whoever guessed in the poll, is Johnny Somali going to be late? You were correct. Johnny Somali was not on time. The no's win, 80% wins. He was late. He was late. Now, I do think he'll be here. Hank is now desperately searching for the defendant. The lawyer is staying in the courtroom. So lawyer is not left, but Hank, not the lawyer, Hank is searching for the defendant. Crazy. Okay. But the courtroom is full. So we're going to have a full courtroom. It's going to be packed. A lot of those are probably Korean media. Shane Armstrong says, ICBMs, it's time for some Canadian Geneva checklist suggestions. We've been having meetings and have some new ideas. Let us know. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, I love you, Canadians. My best friend just went back to Canada. I miss him. Omission Zach for 1 legal mindset membership. Thank you. Gomin Nasari says, I'm not Nordic and I haven't been invested in the region since the Finnish-Korean hyper war of 8000 BC, but down to see which Scandi is the best Scandi. Max Papa says it's wild that there are enough offenses to leave us guessing what the fourth charge is. It could be anything. I've told you guys, when I was reviewing the video, there were so many instances in which these things were violated, like on the bus, on the subway, in the stores, Lotte World. It could be Lotte World. Now, we already have 1 Lotte World charge, but there could be 2. We actually don't know that. There could be a second. Vrey for 100 Danish krona. So just friendly banter between the Scandinavian countries, nothing more. And maybe we are maybe also a bit competitive. Okay, I kind of get that. I'm very competitive. So I kind of get that. Bridger Chandler, as a new member, welcome. Vitor Tak, member for 18 months, says 18 months. Woo, time for cabbage farming, boy. Keep coping and see the Ramsey. You too, Hank. But nice work wasting over $20,000 on all of this, you idiot. That's right. Johnny is the Erebus of the internet. Deadly Raver says, these are fields, Johnny. Endless fields where cabbages are not grown, but harvested. Harvested by people just like you. Let's see. We got some updates here. Johnny and Hank have entered the courtroom. They are now in the courtroom together. They walked in together. Johnny is wearing and I'll go full screen on this. Johnny is wearing a black blazer with a white button-up, no tie. Now, I did have a tie here today. I was going to wear it. It's my favorite tie. I decided not to wear it. The judge is back from recess. Johnny also has changed his hair. He now has a buzz cut. So now Johnny has a buzz cut instead of his normal cut. The defendant is called to the stand and the hearing is beginning. The new interpreter has been sworn in and they completed the oath to do a faithful translation. Remember, we have a new interpreter because the old interpreter kind of screwed up last time. Didn't do that well. So this is a brand new interpreter. As we pause here, I'll get this. Jonas for Bellin says, can Belgians join the Jonah War? Sure. I have a lot of Belgian family, and I love Belgium, so you guys can join. It's fine. Cryptus a new member. Thank you. ICBM launching from Vandenberg, CA, straight to you. B2's following. Tube spanner for 100 pounds, British pounds sterling. I see you're 100 and raise you 100 British pounds. That's basically $1,000 you said, right? Hey, listen, don't knock our currency, which may be taking a bit of a spin as I notice abroad. Scorpion Black Dragon, give to 10 legal mindset memberships. Big Sport says Finland joining the Nordic battle and enjoying the induction of South Korea's newest cabbage farmer. Shout out to my Finns. I love you guys. One of my good friends here is Finnish. He's an awesome guy. Will said loud and clear from NYC for $199. Thank you. Yeah, so Johnny is actually there. Now, mind you, if he did not show up today, that would potentially be contempt of court. That'd be contempt of court. And the questions we have today, let me remind you guys the important questions for today as we wait for further updates. The questions we have is how Bong Bong does as a witness, how Ramsey's lawyer questions Bong Bong, who filed the new obstruction charge, how does Ramsey plead for the new charges, and also who shows up in the courtroom. We know Hank is there. We know he's the emotional support. We know that the courtroom is pretty full. So they just asked Johnny's. So here we go. Live update. They just asked for the lawyer's evidence in the cases for which he pleads not guilty. The judge wants to know what he denies specifically about the deepfake allegations. So remember, last time the judge asked Johnny's lawyer, Ramsey's lawyer, what proof do you have you're not guilty? And the lawyer literally said, we have nothing. We have no proof that he's not guilty. The lawyer is completely now today, after the judge asked him, what specific proof do you have? The lawyer is completely flustered. Ramsey's lawyer is flustered in court. He's just looking at a place. He says he already submitted the evidence to the court, and he's unable to articulate it now. So he can't do it, right? So he's supposed to be able to explain it. He can't explain it. So they're literally saying the lawyer is unable to explain the evidence. Ramsey's lawyer, which is, to me, I have not heard of this in America ever happening, that a lawyer is unable to explain the submitted evidence. I'm not making, this is verbatim what's happening right now. We got live updates. I'm getting them right here on my phone, right? He cannot explain Ramsey's evidence of innocence. Yeah. This is the lawyer that likely Hank hooked him up with, and Hank paid for this lawyer and has paid as an IOU. The lawyer, Ramsey's lawyer, is now complaining about not getting enough notice. He said he got notice late. The prosecutor stood up and said, and countered Ramsey's lawyer and says the prosecution followed all of the proper procedure and it's Ramsey's lawyer's responsibility to file properly. So literally right now we have a situation in the courtroom where it appears Johnny's lawyer did not do what he was supposed to do. And the prosecutor's calling him out on his bullshit and is saying, you fucked up. And sorry for the language, guys, but that's just the blunt way he's saying right now, is in a very polite Korean way, is saying that Johnny's lawyer screwed up. Now, mind you, we don't know the experience of Johnny's lawyer. He may not be very up to date. I don't know whether he is or isn't. So I don't know whether he just didn't know the procedure or he just had a lot of cases or whatever else. But clearly there's some procedural errors. Clearly. So big one here today. Remember, Hank Yu in his interview said that Johnny is no longer living with him. Right now, the judge just asked if there's any change in occupation or residence. The defendant, Ramsey Khalid Ismail, said no. So therefore, right now, Ramsey Khalid Ismail has either committed contempt of court by lying to the court, or Hank is lying. So either Hank is lying or he committed contempt of court. One of these two things have happened because he said no. In his interview with the K-Town Social Club, Hank said that Johnny has moved out and Johnny's no longer with him. So either Hank is lying, which is possible, or he committed contempt of court. Right now, live, just now. The new indictment. So now we got information on the new indictment, the fourth obstruction of business. We have the details. On September 26, defendant Ramsey boarded bus 7011 and used a mobile phone to live stream as Johnny Somali playing North Korean propaganda and loud noises causing a disturbance in force. This is the case that was filed by Korean streamer Bang TV. So big love to Bang TV, who filed this one and got this pushed through. It took months and months and months. He's a guy I've been working with and communication with. He's been a really great guy. I interviewed him. I've got an interview with this guy, Bang TV. He's offered to box Hank, even though he's 10 years, 10 years older and he's much lighter. Hank ran away like a little, like a scaredy cat. And the North Korean propaganda came in. Now he's not being charged with the terrorism charge. It's just obstruction of business, but they did specifically bring up the fact that it was North Korean propaganda. They did specifically bring up that fact. He also caused another disturbance on bus 7013A playing propaganda. Guys, we have a plea on this charge. This charge right here is now guilty. So this is bus and North Korean propaganda. He has pled guilty. So he has now pled guilty on 3 obstruction counts, but he's pled not guilty on 1. He has pled guilty on 3 obstruction counts, but not 1. He pled guilty. The lawyer, Ramsey's lawyer, after he pled guilty. So right now, Ramsey has pled guilty. And for some reason, I don't know why, the lawyer, Johnny's lawyer, is disputing the date and time. The correct date is saying the correct date is the 27th. So he's wasting time in the court right now, arguing what the exact right time is. This is crazy. This is crazy. Josh says, now do you see why it's the right time slot? Safe to say that NYC has dominated the donut wars. You guys go home now. No. We'll get a couple here. Ryder says, Better Call Saul. No, this is better than Better Call Saul. Must run for 1,000. Czech Corona says, do I count as Czech or German? Because I'm currently in Frankfurt. I'll let you do both. This isn't a Sudetenland situation. I'll let you do both. We can all be friends here. All right. Let's see what else we got here. We've got some more updates. The lawyer says the guilty plea is valid if they change the date. So he's trying to nitpick it. So he's trying to, the Ramsey's lawyer is trying to nitpick, even though he pled guilty. He's trying to say, well, you need to change that detail. Of course, they can change the detail. It's not a big deal. That's a very minor thing. So Johnny's lawyer not really having the best day today. He appears to have made some procedural errors and he appears to be trying to fight on things that are not there. He also, once again, Johnny's lawyer said he cannot explain any specific evidence of Johnny's innocence for deepfakes. This is something that's unheard of. This is crazy. That's insane. Richard Chandler said from the hot seat in Phoenix, Mr. President, a second cabbage has hit the courtroom. Also got to contribute for the donut war for the Republic. Shout out. Jonas Rebellin says, is he going to be convicted today? No. Sentencing will be in September, October, November, sometime like that. It will not be today. Today is not sentencing. It's just witness testimony and pleading on this new charge. Guys, make sure I'll get all your chats later, but I try to get some of them as we go to make sure I keep up. David Castillo, welcome as a new member. And Alexander. So let's bring the Baltic into this. Here's 10 from Estonia. Shout out to Estonia. My old roommate was from Lithuania, but I love the Baltic states. Kaito is a new member. And Benton says, not an ICBM, but let's at least some Czech representation with a Scorpion SMG for 100 Czech krona. Appreciate, guys. Hello, wherever you guys in the world, whether in Europe, America, Canada, South America, or Asia. All right, let's see what other updates we have. The defendant, Ramsey, is asked if he accepts the facts and the allegations aside from the date. Ramsey says he accepts them and pleads guilty. So Ramsey, even with the nitpicking from his lawyer, has accepted it and has pled guilty. His lawyer is currently speaking up and explaining things to the court. Mind you guys, there's a little bit of a delay here because what's happening is I have several people in the court that are filtering information to one person that is translating it, making sure it's in English and whatnot. We have one person focused on the judge and what he's saying in Korean. We have another person focusing on more Ramsey and another person focusing on the courtroom. So we've got a lot of people on the SCT in there today. Give them big love. And if you want to support those guys, want to send a little thank you, there's a dono link for the Ko-Fi, Andrew Esquire, to support the mods today and also the SCT. So you guys can go over there and hit that if you're feeling generous. Kella Jane for 100 Polish zloty. I want to know the donor wars. Poland represent. Cześć to my Polish people. I love Poland. Great country. I have a lot of friends there. Krivak for 10 says, can the judge consider the North Korean propaganda and sentencing? Yes. However, they're not going to punish him under the terrorism statute. So he's not going to be punished under the terrorism statute. He can only be punished under what he's charged with. And what he's charged with is obstruction of business, not North Korean propaganda terrorism bit. But they did bring it up as a factor, which means they listened to it. Charles S. says there a provision in Korean law for an appeal. Yes, he could appeal. He could appeal. I don't want to give him any advice, his legal advice, but he could appeal. So a claw for 1,000 Chilean pesos says hello from Chile. Hey, shout out to Chile. I like Chile. Great country. Let's see. Two Bros is on vacation, but sitting through this typhoon in Taiwan gives me more time to watch them unfold. One of my best friends is there from Bangkok, is here right now surviving that. So stay safe, stay dry. Okay. Let's see here. Right now we have a huge update. We have a massive update right now. Johnny Somali has changed his plea on the obstruction charge for Lotte World. He previously had pled not guilty. He is now changing his plea from not guilty to guilty. So he has now pled guilty on all 4 obstruction charges. So he has now changed his not guilty plea. This is now a guilty. So he has pled guilty on all 4 obstruction charges. He is completely guilty on all of these now. 100% guilty on all of these now. So this is insane. But here's what we need to know. Is he going to change on the deepfakes? Is he going to try to do that? Or is he really going to fight the deepfakes? Because that's the one where it really adds to his jail time. It really adds to his jail time. And to me, if he doesn't plead guilty on those and change that, then he's still looking like he's not sorry and he doesn't think he did anything wrong. Shallow for 20 says, guess we have to owe gratitude for Hank for giving RKI such a high quality lawyer, our unintentional saboteur. Listen, I'm not saying he's incompetent or competent. I'm just saying, clearly he made some errors today. That's what it looks like. Norbert Froelich for 10 says, Guten Morgen from Germany, Uncle Mindset. The lawyers fed up all the BS and simply handling RKI's fate over the court. Also, Sedatelium is mentioned as a big German history. I know a lot of history, world history everywhere. I love history. I love history. Jan H. Kruger for 10 says, if you want more, like I know about I'll get some scanny stuff. Like I know about Canute and like England and stuff. Now, part of that I started to learn from what was the anime? The Vinland Saga anime. But when I see a historical nugget, I research it anywhere in the world. If you want more funny stories about scanny history, read The Four Protectors of Iceland, when Harald Bluetooth, king of Denmark and Norway, wanted to invade Iceland. Cool. Check that out. I love history. Love it, love it, love it. All right. We got some updates. Let's see here. Okay. So the only not guilties are the deepfakes now. The witness was not Bong Bong. What? It was the woman from Lotte World seen in the video. This is a huge bombshell. So the witness was not actually Bong Bong. It was the Lotte World woman. What? The Lotte World staff member who asked him to turn it down repeatedly. So there was a young woman who asked Johnny repeatedly to turn off his camera. I've showed that on my previous videos when I was streaming Lotte World. There's a young woman who was clearly on camera asking him to turn it off, and he didn't do it. Since he changed his plea to guilty, the witness was dismissed. So the witness for today that was supposed to testify was dismissed. It was not Bong Bong. What? Curveball of the day. That's actually great because it forced him to plead guilty here. It forced him to plead guilty. Plot twist. And now today they have to argue the deepfake. So they're arguing the deepfakes. Bong Bong isn't coming in. So Bong Bong, that's actually good news because it doesn't matter how Bong Bong does as a witness or not. They already have the evidence. So for the deepfakes, they don't even need Bong Bong as a witness. Crazy. So they're arguing the deepfakes now. So the lawyer for Johnny is arguing this. This is Johnny's lawyer's argument. Johnny's lawyer says Ramsey cannot make the deepfakes because Ramsey does not know how to make deepfakes. So since he didn't make it, and the prosecutor interrupted him and said, so you deny making it, but you admit distributing the deepfakes. The lawyer responded, Ramsey's lawyer responded, well, he was drunk. He admits distribution, denies production. Well, guess what? The statute doesn't require production. It only requires distribution. So he literally just confessed to the crime. Johnny is trying to say he doesn't know how to make a deepfake. Does anybody? Okay, chat, we got to get a poll up here because this is ridiculous. Although my behind the scenes YouTube is like so laggy right now because I have so many people in the chat. But let's see. Does Johnny really know how to make a deepfake? I yes or no? Just a yes or no. Do you guys think that Johnny actually does know how to make a deepfake and he's lying about that? Because I do. I certainly do. I certainly do. I think he's full. I think he's full of it. I think he's full of it. Let's see here. And I will get every single chat at the end, but let me get one here. Net Positive said, I wish I could donate more. I'm fighting leukemia with Crohn's, endless. Oh man, blessings to you and hope you recover well. Okay. So literally his defense is I was drunk. I distributed while drunk. That's his defense. Since the defendant insists on a not guilty plea, but doesn't deny distribution, the victims in these sexual crime cases should testify. So the lawyer argues against calling the witnesses, Youngman and Bongbong. So now they're arguing in the future about calling Youngman and Bongbong. So this is huge. So now Johnny's case won't be over in October. I predicted October. No. Now we're looking at November because they're going to have to call witnesses. So, and they're arguing right now whether the witnesses are necessary. So Youngman, who's in jail actually for throwing a brick through the very same courthouse Johnny's in right now, and Bongbong are going to have to come in. Maybe they're arguing over whether or not they have to come in. So Johnny's lawyer is still insisting on a not guilty plea, and Johnny's lawyer wants to try to argue against calling witnesses. But guess what? They're going to call those witnesses who are going to say exactly how bad it was and exactly what happened, and they're going to talk about the damage of distribution. Because once again, you're guilty just for distributing it. Seriously. Jonas Rebellin says, if he pleads guilty on all charges, what happens then? Yes, there's more. There's still more because we still have to go to closing arguments. We still have to go to sentencing. But he didn't plead guilty. He's fighting the deepfake. So see here, guys. He's pled guilty to everything except for the deepfakes. Actually, hold on. Let me modify my PP real quick. I can do this live. I swear to God, I swear I can do this live. Okay, hold on. I can do this. I'm a very skilled individual who has many talents, including doing stuff while live. Let's see. I think I can add like a background here. Okay, that works. It might be a little pink, but a little pink never hurt anybody, right? A little pink never hurt anybody. Okay, let's do this. Let's do it like this. Drag this over there. Boom. Let's duplicate that. Boom. Okay. Cool. All right. Oh, and I can actually, well, no, we'll just go with that. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let me show you guys what we got here. This is Legal Mindset Live updates to the chart. So this is the new chart. This is the new chart with my kind of pinkish barrier thing here. He's now guilty on everything here. Guilty, but he's still pled not guilty. So because of that, his trial is going to be delayed. He could have got this thing done in like October or maybe even September if he pled guilty to everything. But he's still fighting the deepfakes. He still wants to fight the deepfakes. That's the problem. Number Frolic says the first trial date, RK showed up drunk. Today, RK's lawyer showed up drunk. Crazy strategy. Now, there's no implication that the lawyer is actually drunk today. However, the lawyer is making some really interesting arguments. Black Room Bob gifted 20 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so such. 977 Merrick says, Sudetenland, German. Oh, not again. Ramsey's lawyer guaranteed to turn alcoholic. Listen, he's probably very busy, probably has lots of cases. There's plenty of reasons he might not be fully focused on this. We don't know. But clearly today is not a performance that is helping Ramsey. Bob for 10 Australian said, oh my God, the Chewbacca defense or the opposite day defense from the white set kids, were better strats than the actual trained lawyer for RKI. This is nuts. This is really nuts. Let's see what some updates from the court. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, still arguing. So the lawyer is still arguing against calling the witnesses. So the lawyers and the prosecutor are going back and forth, arguing about whether to call the witnesses, Youngman and Bongbong. And once again, the biggest fact today is that, and I will, by the way, after this is all done, I will do a summary video after this for everybody to put out. But this is absolutely massive, completely massive. And the fact that he's pled guilty means, by the way, going to the chart, that he can face just on obstruction up to 5 years. So let's forget about, if you want to forget about the deepfakes, for 4 obstructions, he faces a maximum of 5 years. So that's just on obstruction. So even if he was not guilty here, it's very likely he's facing some serious time on those deepfakes. On the obstruction business, because he has 4 of them. So he's got multiple convictions there. So that's under the Korean sentencing guidelines. But we expect him to be convicted on the deepfakes, which would give him up to a maximum of 12. But even if it's just the obstruction, that's up to 5. Once again, in my opinion, 5 would be plenty. 5 would be plenty. But obviously, opening it up to more is better because Korea tends to sentence lightly. Felix says for 100 Swedish. Here come the Swedes. Bruh, it was just a prank, bruh. I was drunk. What a clown show. This guy should get the maximum sentence. There we go. Dark Streller for 100 Argentina says, hello from Argentina. Getting into this. Sadly, RKI is not coming to Argentina. Also, level of incompetency in this trial is unreal. If you wrote this as a novel, you'd be called a bad writer. It might be a good novel because it's unbelievable. Ashala for 10 Canadian says, can you see any logical reason to be worth RKI pleading not guilty to deepfakes? He thinks he'll get jail time over those, and he perhaps isn't wrong. He isn't wrong. He really knows that that's being taken seriously right now, and he's afraid of jail time over that. He doesn't realize he can get jail time for obstruction as well. He thinks obstruction is a joke. But the deepfakes, if he is convicted on those, it is very likely he gets time. Absolutely. Minyuk says the bully just got bullied legally. That's right. Krevik says RKI's lawyer is trying to defend the indefensible. Can't blame him for throwing anything forward. Well, yes, but you got to do it in a way that's going to work, right? So if you don't have evidence, it doesn't look good to say if you have evidence, right? Johnny's lawyer said, I cannot explain the evidence. I cannot articulate the evidence. As a lawyer, if you have submitted something to the court, you should be able to explain it or summarize it. And the fact that he cannot explain it means that what they probably did was Johnny had this SIA, his Discord dossier on Bong Bong. And what probably happened was he submitted that to the court, but he didn't explain it. He's just like, oh, here's the evidence. Here's what he gave me. I'm just turning this in. And he didn't explain it at all. So all this work that Johnny's Discord did is pretty much useless now because it wasn't articulated in court. If you're unable to articulate in court, all that work is flushed down the drain. So all that work, they'd spent months and months. These guys were spending in that Discord months and months trying to collect dirt on Bong Bong. And today it was flushed down the drain. Legally. Johnny's defense, Your Honor, the Hennessy made me do it. There's not Hennessy, it was soju. Captain Potato said the whole saga makes me want to stop being a nurse and go back to studying legal. It really is interesting, but Korean law is different, guys. Korean law is not like the U.S. Not gifted 5 legal mindset memberships. Site says, hi from South Africa. Love the content. Happy I'm able to finally join. Thought I would get Africa into the war. Can Johnny lose his passport? He could. If he's convicted of this, they can say he is detrimental to the public image of the United States and take his passport. Yes, they absolutely can. Now, whether or not they have the strength to do that is another thing. I'll get this last one and we're going to continue. We have an update. For 250 Philippine pesos, UK doesn't have AC because we only have warm weather for about 6 weeks. We have central heating to warm the house, double glazed windows, brick houses, and a lot of insulation. Cool. All right. 102 super chats. I'm going to have to get all these at some point. Also, sending you some Swedish krona as thanks for keeping us up to date. Thank you, Touchpad. All right. Update from the court. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So they argued against it. They argued against calling the witnesses. Let's see. The lawyer tried to block so Johnny's lawyer tried to block witnesses for the deepfakes. And trying to see if he was successful or not here. Let's see here. I think they got up and they was overruled by the judge. So the final ruling was the witnesses will be called. Johnny's lawyer was overruled by the judge. There will be witnesses for the deepfakes, which means 100%, his trial is going into October and November at a minimum. So this will not be over until October or November of 2026 because it's going to be yet another month just to call the witnesses and then another month for closing arguments. Given that he failed to block the witnesses, Johnny's lawyer asked to extend cross-examination from 15 minutes to 25 minutes. So next time when they bring in Youngman and Bong Bong, they're going to have a 25-minute, up to a 25-minute cross-examination. So he wants to really grill Bong Bong and Youngman, which is the key here. That was overruled by the judge. So Ramsey's lawyer asked for permission to have extra time to grill Youngman and Bong Bong. The judge denied it. He's not getting more than 15 minutes. He's got 15 minutes for the witnesses. That's it. Overruled by the judge. So today there's been two clear overrulings by the judge and another scolding by the judge of Ramsey's lawyer. So Ramsey's lawyer was essentially 0-3 or 0-4 today. Ramsey's lawyer was 0-3, 0-4 today. Completely wrecked. Completely legally, procedurally wrecked today. There was no quarter given, no inch given by the judge. The judge is really not moving an inch on this. Let me get some of these as we go. Glacia Aquila, Nikiforos Feldman for a 500 Danish kroner says, pink chat for pink PP bars. Got to win that Dono war. Thank you, guys. Spy Caesar for 500 Philippine pesos says, honestly, Your Honor, my client is American. America, miguk. Would have been a better argument than my client was a marinated shrimp. Dignity for 11 euros says, will the situation of the charges, Ramsey playing North Korean propaganda, cause certain charges to be seen as aggravating? It could be. And I think that he will be treated as aggravating. His next hearing date has been announced. Ladies and gentlemen, the next hearing date has been announced. The next hearing date, oh, get ready for this, guys. Get ready. The next hearing date is October 29th, right before Halloween. He's getting a little scary surprise right before Halloween. October. This trial may go into 2026, guys. This trial may be in December 2025 or January 2026. This is going long, boys and girls. October 29th. I thought it would be September. October. Guys, it's getting spooky for RKI, and this is not good for him. Savoria says Johnny will be guilty on everything. That's what's going to happen. Lonix says for 100 Norwegian krona, just show the Swedes that 100 Norwegian krona is better than. Dude, you guys are Sweden and Norway. You guys are going at it. Asova says, so assume RKI is no longer getting spooned by Hank. Where is he living? State provided accommodations? No, the state will not provide him accommodations. I think he's living with Hank and Hank was lying. Either it's contempt of court, because today the big reveal was one of the big reveals was that he said he is still living with Hank. So either that's contempt of court and he just committed a crime, or Hank was lying. So there's one of the two. A smart otaku for 20 says, pronounce a smart otaku. I know what otakus are because I'm one. Personally, I'm looking forward to the future story of Ramsey getting out of prison. The first thing that happens to him is getting jumped by a nuisance streamer looking for clout. I mean, people will clout farm. Hugashaka for 129 Swedish krona says, let's leave those Danish lowlanders in the dust. Yokai Watch Brace said, I called it was going to be Halloween. You did a good job. Why does it smell like cooked salami in here? Because he's cooked. Jonathan Buddha says, scary prosecutors send shivers down your spine. Ray Senpai says, my friend and I tried to go to the trial IRL, but ended up at the wrong courthouse. Sad. Oh, it's the Western District Courthouse in Seoul, not the Central, the Western. Be at the next one. You might see me there. It's possible. Cake Up for £5 says, great coverage. Just started work, but I'm locked into this. If Johnny Somali gets fines rather than jail time, can he leave Korea and not pay? No, he has to pay before he leaves. Josh Drive says, just letting y'all know that RKI has the finger in the mouth defense. Not happening. First says for 250 MKD. That was throwing me off. A treat for the team. Tell them to give a tax lawyer a drink for the emotional damage. Sarcasm. Nacho Dragon. So he's chosen Trick. First, so got that already. And let's see. Whoa, Jonas Rebellin says the sole Belgian fighting it's a strong dono war. Spooktober is going to be good. You're like the Belgian police in the 1910s, if you get that reference. Annie, for 200 Swedish krona says I'm finished. So if I claim all the Finns for the dono wars, yes, no, you can. I'll put your points towards the Finns. Okay, I'm keeping count here. Keeping count. Minhyuk says, spooky, scary cabbages greater than skeletons. Great. October 29th, says Graham. That's the release date of my middle grade adventure novel, Fossil Force, A Glorious Day on Two Continents. Thanks, Andrew. America. That's cool. Well, congrats to you, and hope you check out the book Fossil Force. Super Grouper said, came for the future. Johnny Somali Kimchi is the biggest kimchi brand in Korea, handmade and cultivated by a single person who's still behind bars. Let's get some updates from the general area. Okay, so it is October 29th, the next hearing. People are, I believe that is going to be most of what's wrapped up there. Now, one thing I will say is, and let me check right now if I can reveal my top secret information. Can I reveal my top secret information? Let's see. The defense questioning is going to be limited to 15 minutes, I believe, total. So I'll confirm whether it's total or not, but it's limited to 15 minutes. That's all you get. That's all. So let's see here. Do we have? Okay. Cannot reveal the secrets right now. Cannot reveal the secret yet. Let's see. So let's get to some of these chats. We've got some stuff for you. Actually, I'll read some more, and then I'll give you one of my secrets on my side. Touchpad for 500 Swedish krona says, there's Norway. All those oil drinkers are trying to fight Sweden here. Diaco for 100 US. America. Says, thank you for the extensive coverage of the RK trial and of nuisance streaming, legal and cultural implications. It takes a lot of time and resources. So here's a little something for the effort. Thank you. And guys, it really goes back to everybody in the community that's helping me. I really am doing something for a lot of the guys that are in the SCT this month, and as well as I want to do something for the mods. Shout out to Danielle, guys. Put a D in the chat for Danielle, who I believe is our sole mod today. I think our other mod's sleeping, but it's really been awesome to have the support of these guys. I couldn't have done it without a team of people. Shane Armstrong says MKD is Macedonian dinar. Okay. It's more than one Macedonian now, so it confuses me. Martin Lee HB says, thanks the SCT for the work. I will thank them personally and generously. Mr. Mutt for 99 says, a bit random, but do you think Darkside Phil will one day find himself a similar court? I don't know anything about whether or not he will. I don't have enough facts on that. Jopie says for 100, I bet the winter is coming concept of Game of Thrones, already being Viking-ass themed, was actually from the history of the Swedish and Dane Vikings, but it clashes when winter froze the waters. I think it also has to do with the invasions of England and the different peoples that came to England over the years. Axolotl says, I know it's not much, but hello from Mexico. Thank you. And thank you for everything. Guys, you can always like the video. That is absolutely 100% free. Does not cost a cent to do that. Let's see here. If Johnny doesn't show up on time, would they hold him in contempt of court? Only if he was really late, and that didn't happen. Infamous says, good morning, Andrew. Also, it's Indonesian rupees. Oh, thank you. And QB says, as much as I disagree and dislike Somali, I hope that people who are there keep it professional and don't feel his ego. Yes, all of my people did. So anybody associating me with professional, but right now I can give you an update that there are some people that are very unprofessional that are there, and they probably did something unprofessional. Those aren't anybody associated with me. And there are people there that are anti-Somali that are not associated with me at all whatsoever. So all my folks are professional. Apparently Johnny was on a really good behavior in the courtroom, and so was Hank. So they weren't, scowling at people or making faces. They didn't have MAGA hats. They just had on, once again, the black suit, etc. The witness was Kim. I don't want to say her last name. I don't want to dox her, from Lotte World. So it was a woman from Lotte World. The lawyer, Johnny's lawyer, wanted a sooner hearing for the witnesses. So he got overruled again. So today, guys, there was 4 overrulings. 4. Johnny's lawyer did not win a single battle in court today. He was overruled asking for the hearing to be sooner. And the judge said, nope, we need time to call the witnesses and give them advance notice. So it's going to be October 29th. October 29th. So this is going to drag out a really, really, really long time. Remember, Hank said he's going to go to China in July of 2026. I think he may have to delay that date. Jones of Brevelum says, big love to D and JP. Y'all are doing great. Thank you. And Peter LaBelle gets to 10. Renan Vilhora for 200 yen said, thanks for the amazing cover and PPs. Thank you. My PPs are pretty good. Chris said, I'll claim the donut war for us Acadians at home or abroad. Chiak is the best language. I've been following this saga since the beginning. Cool. Robert Von Beek for 22 euros says, did RKI say that not say that South Korea feels like jail? So longer process is extra jail time. Yes. By the way, can we leave the dollar and kroner bros and join the donut war united as the Eurozone? The Dutch contribution is here. Why are you trying to see? Why are you Central Europeans trying to all drag people into the Eurozone? I think the Scandies want to be independent. They want to stay independent. They got their own currencies, guys. Clan says for 100 Danish krona says Denmark and Sweden call the Norwegians. Okay, I can't pronounce that. Now I'm going to assume this is good-hearted jabs. Norway and Sweden call Danes Danish devils. Denmark and Norway call Swedes the worst thing we can imagine. Why am I like knee deep in Scandi lore right now? SJ Maldo. Morning, like legal mindset. Glad I could catch the stream. Saludos de Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico. I always have an amazing time there and have some really good Puerto Rican friends. QD Fonseca says second Belgium is in the Chidona War. 2 Belgians that can hold down the Western Front. Tisha Liz says, when we find out if he lied about his dress, we'll see. We'll see if that comes out. That'd probably be next court date. There may be some information on that. Ben Hirodaro says deepfake evidence on his confiscated laptop. Yeah, they confiscated his phone. So they already have it in his phone, and they have proof on stream that he distributed it because they see him on stream. Guys, this next hearing in October, his lawyer can do whatever he wants to do to Youngman and to Bongbong. It doesn't matter. The point is, he distributed it. He streamed it. And he confessed to that. He confessed today through his lawyer that he is guilty of the crime. And he still wants to argue that he's not guilty, even though he just admitted to the elements of the crime. I'm serious, guys. The lawyer just said, yeah, we fulfilled the element of the crime. It really is nuts. So according to everybody in the chat, this was a wild hearing. So I'm going to ask about any, ruckus outside and kind of the scenes outside. Because of course, there could be things happening, things going on. Lonix for 100 Norwegian krona says you can't just throw on bad words like Swedes and like it's nothing. Is YouTube going to censor me for saying Swedes? Do you think Japan is watching? Do you think they'll learn something? Yes, I think they are learning, and what they're doing is they're coming down harder on nuisance streamers. Madeval for 25 says make sure that the Somali prosecution team gets around to beers. They're going to get a lot of soju and Hanu Korean beef, and I am personally bringing. So there's one special member of the SCT that I'm actually doing something really special for, and I'm gonna do that for him this month because he was really behind connecting me with Yu Dalgun and with everybody else. Nicole NG says thanks SCT and Andrew for the hard work and making Johnny and other news streamers pay for their crimes. Starbucks on me after the trial today. Thank you. Greece from Oregon, washing on my computer and TV while crocheting a blanket for my niece. Love the coverage, and I'll listen to while doing this stuff. Cool. Well, let me show you guys a little treat here before I go on about anything that's happening and some little updates. I want to give you guys a little bit of a preview. This is a sneak peek. Oh, and before that, we have another update from the court. A second source says that Johnny looked gaunt, meaning he looked like he was not eating, and he has dark circles around his eyes. Like his dark circles were so deep that his dark circles had dark circles. So Johnny is looking bad. Johnny does not look good. Johnny looks really, really bad, according to a person who was kind of assigned to observe him. Peter LaBelle for 20 says, thanks to you and your team for the update. Great job as always. I think it's sinking in with Johnny. Jopi said Sweden is Scandinavian, Norway is Scandinavian, Denmark is Scandinavian, Iceland is not, Finland is not. It's named after the Scandinavian peninsula. Cool. Tater Tot says October, 2 more months that more charges can drop. Lonix says, welcome as a member. Vengeful Monk Gaming says, how clueless can this guy be? I don't know. Are you talking about his lawyer or Johnny? I don't know. Ren Senpai says, my friend won't be able to be there for October 29th trial, but I'll show up for him. Cool. Well, maybe I'll be there. Actually, I really do enjoy Korean Halloween, although it's unfortunate what happened in Itaewon, but I do enjoy it there. Jeremy Beaver said, whoa, Somali time. Sai Seki says, shout out from Malaysia. Also, I'm a listen in between work today. Should be good. Hubble said, it's amazing how one clown brought together so many people for a single cause. You are absolutely right. Artsword Dune Rider said, what happens if a kick streamer streams inside a court? He would be kicked out. Juan says, as the Kino Casino says, suffer, Johnny Somali. Suffer. All right. I'll get this last one. Sunspot Gallery says, All right. Let me show you guys something special here while we wait for what will be, I think, a surprise guest or a surprise live here. I want to show you guys, first of all, something I added to the end of my PP. There is an actual documentary coming that is going to be on, really focus on Johnny Somali, as well as some of the stuff with Ice Poseidon called IRL. And it's not completely done yet, but it's going to be very professional. It's going to be done correctly. It's not going to be biased. It's not going to be a fan film. It's going to be a real deal thing. Now, I'm just going to show you like an example of the type of footage that will be used in it, because Johnny has said some crazy stuff over the years. And this one I thought was exceptionally crazy. So let me share this with you guys in this little clip of this documentary, which is going to come out. It's going to be produced and edited. This is just a little tiny clip to give you guys a taste of what's coming. So this is a little clip from IRL.
Behave yourself, Johnny. I'll try my best. You guys know I always try to be reformed and say, guys, I'm going to become a better streamer and be nice. And then as soon as I start drinking, everything goes to shit. Everything goes to shit, man. What's the law on that? You said you read up on the law. What's the law on that North Korea shit? Like, all right, so no propaganda, bro. No propaganda. Like, what is don't carry around no, what do you call them? What's the definition of propaganda? Papers, like, papers promoting Kim Jong-un, like T-shirts promoting Kim Jong-un. None of that shit, bro. I ain't got no T-shirt. I know, but don't be talking about him and saying he's a real god and whatnot.
Literally, everything has gone to shit for Somali. And all of that advice that he was given, he completely ignored that advice. That was good advice. Don't do that. And guess what Johnny did? He went there and he did that. He went there and he did exactly that. Crazy. Jonas Rebellin says, last contribution from the Belgium. Andrew, I love that you're following your fast facts. Keep doing those. I will do a fast facts on this. Obviously, this was developing. So I'm going to summarize this and the important points into fast facts. I'll also do a little minor update here. I'll fill this in on this chart and I'll get that tweeted out. But yes, that's what we got now. It is absolutely crazy. Jay Likes Anything says, howdy. As this case nears an end and Johnny gets his comeuppance, are any Korean politicians leveraging this for tougher restrictions on foreigners? Not that I know of yet. I will keep you guys updated on that. That's a very good question. Mark D for 20 Oz says, emotional drop bears, watching from Australia. Grok says South Korea loses labor programs to rehabilitate prisoners, including service industry. Poetic justice dictates that he will work for every business he obstructed. I'm a Blake. Take my money. Yeah, that's where the cabbage joke comes from. The cabbage joke is not just like because it's funny. It's because they can force you to do labor in Korea. Aloha came. Kamichin says, aloha, legal mindset. Been out for a while. What did I miss? Here's a few pennies for the coffee fund. Thank you. Ian from 10 says, every time I tune in, it feels like Monday night rehabilitation from Idiocracy. All right. I'm going to go to the top and then we'll work our way through. Jeremy Beaver said, so Johnny woke able to leave South Korea until he pays. He won't be able to leave. Yes, he has to pay everything he owes. If he does not pay, he cannot leave South Korea. Can't leave South Korea. Okay. Also, I have a little bit of an update from a lawyer in Korea who just messaged me, who says, if October is the witness examinations, closing arguments are probably going to be in December or January, and the sentencing might be in February, in which case February is the month that judges are reassigned. So it's possible that they could have a new judge, and that the new judge might take months to catch up on the case. And if they do, then it'd be delayed even further. So if this thing gets pushed out too far, we could see it lasting into 2026 far because of a new judge cycling in, and catching up on the case. I personally want this judge to deal with it because I want the judge to have realized all the craziness of this. I think this judge will be pretty harsh on the sentencing. So I know it's good to delay, but also I would prefer the sentence to be severe. So I'm kind of mixed on this, right? It'd be terrible. Obviously, the delay would be terrible. Oh, so terrible, right? In an ironic way. No, the process is the punishment. But I do want him to get a real sentence because I want to set a precedent. Ian says, reminds me of Monday. Oh, no, got that one ready. Notice Investing said, what happens if he runs out of money? Then he's just homeless. He's just homeless. Pyro says, where do I watch the Courthouse Live? No, there's no video. The only place to get the updates is from me as I get live updates from this. Video recording is illegal. It's impermissible. And you're not allowed to have any sort of recording device, audio or video. It's impermissible. However, there are methods in which you can get live updates from the court, right? With which the Korean news uses. So we're using the same methods the Korean news is using. So it's permissible. Christian Jacqueline says, thank you for the learning opportunity. My pleasure. Scooter says, F Johnny, F Hank, but not at the same time. They like it too much. King Lou just said, can I know the bailiff's description for Lonely Nights? He's jacked. He's probably about 6 feet tall. I mean, what is that? He's like 180 centimeters or something like that. He's tall. He's jacked. He's like a buff dude. He's like really like bodybuilder type. Capacuro says, Grease here, making breakfast, ready for courtroom drama. Too many Randy Scandies in here. Katie says, $4.99. It's been a while since I checked out the Arcade case. Might give me a quick rundown. I think we did that earlier. Brogan says, for me and my wife, Denmark is the best country in Scandinavia. Enjoy yourselves in Mexico here for justice. Daniel says we need an Israel versus Gaza. Oh, no, we're not doing that. Shadow for 20 says upcoming Match of the Gathering set has a Cabbage Man card. Richard Chandler says subbed at 100K, but for whatever reason, YouTube unsubbed me. You got to make sure you stay sub, click the notification bell, and stay tuned because obviously we're going to have a lot of stuff coming in the future on this channel, and it's going to be very entertaining. It's going to be very entertaining. I'm trying to see right now about our little special guest here and whether he's gonna pop on or not. Let me see that real quick. Okay. Natalie Braithwaite, because in the UK it's mostly cold and damp. That is factual. That is very factual. Oh, by the way, shout out to JP. I didn't realize he was in the chat as well. He set his alarm. Thank you, JP, for being here. I Pick and Vic has been a passive onlooker of the old RKI. Looking forward to seeing what comes from today. Well, we've seen what happened. Let's go to the bottom. Ian says, ever since the U.S. soldier ran over the DMZ, I'm surprised Johnny has now tried to do similar. That would not work out well. Sneaky Blinder said, pretend, what did I miss? Catch the fast facts. Rico says, can we petition the court to give him the chair? It won't be death penalty for this, guys. They do have the death penalty, but it will not be for this. Zach says, Legal Mindset, thanks for the coverage and maintaining professionalism that all attorneys should aspire to. Greetings from Michigan. Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate that. I endeavor to be educational, entertaining, and understand with Johnny Somali, I have kind of made a focus. I will be trying to focus on the legal updates only. So yes, I'm still covering Somali like today in October, but I'm not going to cover drama or distractions, etc. And for example, with Hank, I've already made the statement that I'm not covering Hank outside of the courtroom. Whatever he wants to do is his own business. Only when he's in the courtroom or if he's called as a witness. That's it. That's all. I'm trying to focus on the law and keep it professional, objective, and also have a little bit of fun. Like, the Scandi Dono battle. Muzzin Dono for 10 euros says, Buongiorno d'Italia. It's time to bring my country in the support war. Thanks for all the team for the coverage given Ramsey and Co. Much love from Italy. Well, grazie mille to over all those over there in Italy. I had some really great Italian food the other day. El Eagle, disciple of Wa, for 50,000 dong, says, as much as I love how Korean courts drag out the process for the cabbage field, I simply can't wait till he's jailed. Many people feel the same way. Many people say, Andrew, tell me when he's in jail. Well, that might not be till January, guys, or February. We don't know. We really don't know. Notice it sounds like a lazy lawyer. I don't know whether or not he's, messing up because he's lazy or busy or whatever else, or maybe he just really has a bad case. Maybe it's just that bad of a case that even the best lawyer couldn't win. You know, even the best lawyers sometimes have weird things happen, like somebody making a taco legal mindset on X, which I just got distracted by. Like, I mean, it kind of makes me want tacos, but it kind of makes me concerned why I'm in a taco right now. Anyways, the weird things that happen on the internet. I love you guys. I appreciate everybody. I like the fan art. It's good stuff. Ben is playing says, LMAO, the lawyer is like, we got nothing. The interpreter is already in the process of an unconditional surrender. Oh, no. Okay, let's see. This guest is still, are they live? Oh, here we go. Okay, we got something to watch now. And it's from the person who was secretly at the trial. That's right. It's Grandpa ToS. Let's see if this works. Okay, I think he may be lagging because the Korean internet is there. But he's gonna probably only do it shortly here. But Grandpa ToS, let's like the stream. And let me tell his chat to like it. He was actually there. Oh, did he? Okay, let's play this again. Uh-oh. Looks like Grandpa ToS. May have had some internet troubles. Grandpa ToS may be having some internet troubles. It happened last time too. Let's see. Maybe he can get it back together. Last time this happened because the internet connection is very, very troublesome. Grandpa down, yeah. He was there the entire time. I knew it. I kept it secret because as a lawyer, I value confidentiality. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see. We'll see if it was Scuff ToS. That's right. We'll get some more super chats and see if Scuff ToS comes through. Singapore 5. Ramsey buried his own deep self deeper way before the main prologue begins. What a little moron. That's right. And he says, meow and purr for my cat Daisy, who decided to join me. She wasn't interested in the trial or donor wars, just pets. Pet your small friends. Oh. Arbazi says, I'm a law student in the States. So cheers. My classmates and I love your videos. Hey, what's up? 3 of us stayed to watch. Thanks for the curio. Thank you guys. Hey, listen, as lawyers, you can do anything you want. You don't have to be a lawyer like in a traditional practice or law firm. You can work for yourself. You can work for a corporation. You can do something that's legal adjacent. You might want to work on something related to AI in the legal field, which is an emerging field. You might want to be a content creator like myself. You might want to work with a business. You might want to start your own business because the legal mindset, which is what my channel is about, is not just limited to being the traditional practice of law, or like many people think, going to court. Although 99% of lawyers do not go to court. In most cases, settle, never go to court, never see the light of day in court, right? But the practice of law is very broad, and there are tons of different types of lawyers, or the way you can apply law, or just the education from law school. The one thing I will say is make sure you don't get in massive debt related to law school. Super Goober said, are you sure that the dark circles are not just sunburnt through his Kanye outfit? Oof. Psyche says, Grandpa down. King Luke said, is Rachel Zegler going to play? Jordan says, this is a super chat to laugh at Johnny. Well, we'll just play this.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
One of my favorite clips. Let's see. Capacuro says, if you pled guilty to the DF today, the deepfakes, would they have skipped calling the witnesses? Yes. If he pled fully guilty, they would have done that. Greetings from Greece. Shout out to Greece. Henrik says, we Lithuanians used to call the Swedes fish eaters. Joseph Strife says, speaking of Scandies, where are the Icelanders? I don't know. Although there's debated whether they're part of Scandinavia. I guess they've got it's kind of like the roots, but not the region, whatever. These things get complicated, guys. These things get complicated. Regarding the Dono War, you claim insanity? Hackfish says, I'm somewhere in the Great Britain, England, Scotland, Wales. So here's my £5 to enter the Dono War with my pleb pitchfork and sheep. That's very on point for Britain. 125 Philippine peso says, Kamusta from the Philippines. Can RKI appeal that he has an incompetent lawyer? Is there law that? Yes, he can. He can. But here's the thing about that. And I don't want to spoil too much. If he appeals, he has to pay for it. It's not free, and it's extraordinarily expensive. And I'm not going to tell you other secrets about it because I don't want to give him advice, but it's extraordinarily expensive to appeal, and it's not free. He has to pay. So that is a huge limiting factor. You are only entitled to a lawyer during your main trial, not during the appeal. You are not entitled to unlimited appeals. JP Ram said, hey, I've been here the whole time. Sorry, JP. I thought you might be sleeping because I know it's like really late for you. Annie for 50 Swedish Krona says, putting down my contribution to this sibling rivalry. Jax says, a topic to follow on is Australia banning social media under 16. I might do that when I have to look into law. I'm going to talk to my Australian lawyer friend. Graham Masdal for £5 says, will we find out today if the petition for severe punishment is successful? No, that'll be at the end. So at the very end, the judge may talk about whether that's successful. That was submitted by Jungmann. Fat J for 5 Oz says, I just got here. Is this a standard hearing? Yes, it's a hearing. It was a hearing for his indictment, which he pled guilty on. He also changed his pleas to all guilty. So this is now the current chart for his crimes. He has now pled guilty to all 4 obstruction charges. He changed his not guilty to guilty. He's pled guilty to everything, guilty to the Minor Crimes Act. The only thing he's fighting is the deepfakes. Not an FBI says Johnny and Thanos didn't do nothing wrong. The other pal for 5 Oz says, point of order, my question is about how a conviction would affect his USA record. It would not, unless the USA decides to bring him up on some internet stuff like what he was doing with the kids on the internet. If they decide to bring him up on that, then that's a U.S. criminal trial, and he'd be brought up on that. But that's separate. Wolfie Canham, member for 1 month. Thank you. Akigo Zim says, how many years is he facing? 12. 12. Maximum of 12 at this point. Maximum of 12. Anybody who tells you anything other than 12 does not understand the sentencing guidelines. Josh Stripe became a new member. Thank you. Twilight Dragon says, so tired now, but this is worth it. There we go. Touchpad said, didn't RKI plead guilty to distribution? Yeah. So what he did was this. His lawyer admitted that Johnny is guilty of distribution, but he wants to argue that because at the time Johnny distributed them, he's drunk, that Johnny should be held not guilty. That is not going to work. That will not work at all. But he wants to try. And the judge is going to let him try. Even though that's not going to work, the judge is going to let him try. Nurple said today on Courtroom JS, let's incriminate our client. Renda's too. Remember, he's being paid in IOUs. Fantastic Mr. Knox is long man. Brett Cabot says October 29th is the day my parents got married. Well, there you go. More good news then. Iowa Moto said, Johnny, beware. You're in for a scare. Mr. Hackett says, did you hear about the jurisprudence fetishists who got off on a technicality? Oh, no. Joke word for 5 New Zealand. Is there a provision for Korean police to visit to confirm it? I have to ask about that. I don't know. Let me ask about the address. I got to get that information. Zia for 499 says, if the Lotte World employee was dismissed, does that mean she doesn't have to come back another day? Yes, they're done with her because she was related to this charge. The witness was Lotte World for this charge, and he pled not guilty. Since he pled guilty, she wasn't needed, so she went home. Because he was cooked on that. Vray for 50 Danish kroner says, my husband and I have our wedding anniversary with a due date in October. Cool. For a second, I thought it could be on either of those dates. That's interesting. And by the way, congratulations on the new presence in your family. Jordan Kyoth says, October is perfect. Ramsey's being haunted by ghosts of nuisance streamers past. And remember, come October, he will have been trapped in Korea for over a year. He will have been trapped in Korea for over a year. He said, Korea is like prison to me. He's been in prison for a year now, guys. Kyle Johnson said, is there any possibility for JTS to beg for forgiveness for reduced sentence? He can try, but guess what? If he was going to do that, he's got to say he's guilty. He's guilty. And he's got to bend the knee, and he's not done that. Ashala for 5 Canadian says, that clip of RK getting punched never gets old. Cope and Steve, Cabbage Boy. Troger for 5 says, long weekend with my cat at the ER. We are home safe and binging your content in bed while he recovers. Love from LA. Thank you. Guy Van Young says, Atozi live too on the Arca trials. Who should I watch? Well, I think he went live and then he went down because he was having some issues. But he's Grandpa Tozy. He'll eventually figure out the technology, right? We'll eventually figure it out. And Jonas Rebellion says, hey, question. I'm baffled the streamer in Belgium that made content pouring questionable liquids over metro travelers is set free. I don't know about that one because I don't know Belgian law. I think I've seen a clip, but I don't know the law in Belgium. I'd have to look into that. Wiseman Gamer for 20, Romania. So how many years would you sentence Arky to if it was up to you? 12. I'd give him the max. But you know what? At least 5. I'd give him at least 5. I think 5 is fair. 5 is fair. 4, 5 is fair. The default amount here, I would at least give him this. Somewhere between this and this, for sure. For sure. I mean, you've got to set a precedent. You've got to say, hey, maybe 8, 4 to 8, somewhere in there. You've got to set a precedent. You can't get away with this stuff. My birthday is October 20th. Well, pre-happy birthday. T-Bag JT says, Your Honor, my client didn't murder this man. He was drunk. Yes, exactly. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Okay, so let's see. People are saying Atozi managed to get himself together, which is good for Atozi. Let's check that. Wait, hold on. Let's check that out because I want to support my good buddy here. So we'll check that out and get a little.
And
okay, let's
things like last.
Here we go.
Like last time, things went awful for Johnny. This time, it went terrible. He even got humiliated in court. I mean, it was really bad from the start. And just to start things off, I'm going to run through the whole trial so you guys kind of get a picture of how things.
He's going to be very short,
even though you guys weren't there. So there was a few people there. There
Is
wasn't
the sound
that many
working?
people this time.
Sound good?
But Johnny at 3:59, Johnny's lawyer came in. So right on time for the trial and so on. Then at 4, a woman walked in who apparently was a witness. We didn't know of her. We hadn't seen her. We were assuming that Bong Bong was going to testify today, but apparently not. Then at 4:03, Hank walked in, and that also confirmed that Hank is still associated with Johnny. Then at 4:05, so this is 5 minutes after his trial started, Johnny was still not there. So Hank, he starts panicking and talking to the lawyer, and they don't know where Johnny is. So then Hank has to run out of the courtroom and I guess call Johnny and figure out where this guy is.
Gotta find him.
So moving on with my notes here. Let's see. 1 second. And we have at 4:07, Johnny then walks in, this time respectfully in a fitting suit.
This time.
It seems like Johnny realized how bad things were and finally took the cue and he was like, okay, I'm going to lock in because clearly things are not going well for him. So then everyone sits down or everyone stands up, judge walks in, everyone sits down. Okay, court starts. So then at 4:12, Johnny then confirms that he is still a quote unquote student and that he still actually lives at Hank's house.
Even though he said he didn't. Even though Hank
that's interesting because Hank is going on to say, oh, Johnny does not live with me. I do not help Johnny anymore. I'm not associated with him anymore.
Correct.
Apparently that's not true.
It's not.
So then we have the 8 charges that he's currently facing.
Right.
I have Gabe with me here who's been helping me translate and also find all the location and everything, and so on. So shout out to this man for being here. But essentially, so there's the first charges they talked about were it was the business obstruction charges. And they were related to the buses, correct?
This is the new charge that they announced today. So this is the one that we didn't know for sure, but I predicted was going to be the bus incident on the 27th.
Yes, that was my prediction as well.
Was it 7011 bus or was it 7013A?
It was 7011.
It's 2 buses.
Okay.
7013A.
Okay, and then you had another bus 20. Oh, so it was a 2024 incident. That's why it was bus 2024. Okay,
Yes,
so that's okay.
This is something that happened in 2024.
Okay.
So that's why
2 different buses.
That's also why they're adding it to this case, among many reasons. It's because it was all around the same time. So they consider this a crime spree.
Okay. And so the first 2 disturbances, so the first bus, that was for playing NK propaganda on the bus. And then the second one was for just text-to-speech donations and just, disturbing the peace on the bus. So
noises and
loud
refusing
noises
to turn it down.
Yes.
Causing a disturbance, and also the live streaming. That in itself they consider to be a disturbance. That making other people feel uncomfortable if you have your camera. Like right now, we're here. We're not putting people in the frame.
They're
right?
in the.
If you're on a bus, you're
They're where I
streaming other
was near the
people as well.
Starbucks.
So that's considered a disturbance.
I know
as well.
exactly where they are.
So then at 4:15, you had that moment where they went, "Oh, if you change the time, we plead guilty here," and that didn't fully make sense to me. So, like, what was that about?
They said
'Cause
the
that was
date
what
was
Johnny's
wrong.
team said.
They said
It's
the date.
very common for an accusation to have like some small mistake, like it be a date or a time or a location. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
If you say no, it wasn't this day, it was that day, it's
irrelevant.
It's still a crime.
It's
It
irrelevant.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But Johnny nitpicks about stuff like this, and the
Yes.
lawyer brought that up
Yes.
as an argument. And so
'Cause
the
Johnny is
compromise
nitpicky on
was, do
everything.
you admit to everything except the date that this happened? Yes, he admits to everything except for the date. Okay, that's a guilty plea.
Okay. So yeah, then he pled guilty for all the obstruction charges. So all 4 obstruction of business charges, he pled guilty for.
Right.
Then, so because of that plea, then the witness got up and left because they no longer needed her to testify against him, because we're assuming that the witness was one of the workers at Lotte World who witnessed him, disrupt and stop the ride and do all the stuff he did there.
Yeah, when she turned around, I recognized her from the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
100%. I recognized her from the video.
Okay. So then you had the whole deepfake charges. So the lawyer then said that Johnny was intoxicated. So they used him being intoxicated as an excuse for
Which
why
is
he
not an
attributed
actual
this.
excuse.
Their
It is
number
not
one
a real
argument
excuse.
is that, this was his lawyer finally making an argument, which they've been asking him to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what you're supposed to do in court.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, "Oh, I gave you the evidence," or "Oh, I'll tell you later." But finally, they got him to make an argument, and his number one argument was he did not produce the deepfakes, even though I think he probably did.
He did.
Right?
He definitely did.
He did not produce the deepfakes. All he did was to distribute them. So you admit to distributing them.
Right.
He
Okay.
confessed.
So yeah, so that's
the
essentially what
crime.
happened.
Confessed.
Yeah.
He is insisting on a not guilty plea. So it
He
looks like
confessed.
his lawyer or somebody was able to convince him that the Lotte World charge was a
It's
lost,
crazy.
cause.
Mm-hmm.
And
He confessed.
So so that's what Johnny gave.
Interesting.
Guilty,
It's in the
guilty plea,
statute.
changing the plea from not guilty to guilty for Lotte World,
Yeah.
but insisting on not guilty for the deepfakes.
Okay. And then,
It's
then that's when
idiotic.
that a new
Idiotic.
dialogue started, because that's when
Legally.
the prosecution wanted to bring in witnesses for the deepfakes, and Johnny's lawyer did not want witnesses involved at all.
Right.
So
'Cause he-
then,
'cause he knows it's
what
not
happened
gonna look
after they didn't want witnesses? What did the judge say, and how was the reaction of the court then?
This was interesting. He, since he got overruled when he tried to block the witnesses.
Yeah.
They do not want Bong Bong to testify. They don't want Yongman. They don't want either of them to testify.
Because it's going to look
Okay.
bad.
We know.
Yeah.
We know. We've known that for a long time.
Mhm.
But yes, he was actively in court trying to block them, and he was overruled on that.
Okay.
So, but since they're having the witnesses, the lawyer requested more time than usual
Okay.
to examine them.
So
Why?
what's a normal time to examine someone, you think?
It depends on the
Also,
case.
guys, make sure you're
And
liking a
and
Tozy
all
stream
that.
as well.
They'll set it, and
Go
for
like
this,
his
they set
stream.
15 minutes for the defense for the lawyer to
And leave a comment.
interview the
I love it, Tozy.
Okay.
witnesses. They
He's my-
set
he's my
15
boo.
minutes, and since he couldn't block it, he wanted more time with the witnesses, which means if they can't block the witnesses, they really want to grill them. So he might be planning on going all in on Bong Bong.
Oh, wow. Okay, so is it Johnny's lawyer that's grilling Bong Bong, or the prosecution that's grilling Bong
It'll be
Bong?
first the prosecution for 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
the next is Johnny's lawyer for 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then the judge might ask some questions as well.
And then you have another witness as well. So
Right.
it'll be times 2, essentially.
Yeah, so 30
And
minutes
interesting.
for
and another
15,
times
15,
too,
15,
because they
15,
they're
an
going
hour.
to do a translation for everything.
It'll be about an
Oh,
hour.
So
wow.
that making
Okay.
it twice as long. Yeah.
Okay.
That'll
And
be a
yeah,
good one.
and that's happening in October.
That'll be
And
a
then
good
other
one.
than that, so then you had what were the minor crimes charges? Were they ever brought up during this?
He's already guilty of those.
That
He's already
has
guilty of those.
settled that the plea is guilty.
Yeah, he's already played.
Okay.
Minor crimes, and now we can say
Doesn't matter.
obstruction of business. The plea is guilty for 6 charges.
Okay.
For
Interesting.
obstruction.
And so
2 minor
overall,
crimes.
how was Johnny's lawyer?
Flustered, definitely out of his depth. I kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I know he was pressured by Hank's family to be a part of this case.
That's
and,
speculation. That's speculation. That's speculation. That's speculation.
I think
I think it's good
trying to do
speculation.
his best to balance between Johnny and normalcy.
Yeah.
Normal, like, sane, actual normal procedure.
Yeah. And how is the prosecution handling this case, you feel like?
I mean, obviously very professional.
Okay. So would you consider them to be pretty aggressive on this case, or
Just normal, I think.
how would you rate it?
Yes, I would say today they were aggressive.
Oh, okay. Cool.
You know, the paradox is, how can you simultaneously admit to having distributed,
Yeah.
which is the crime that it's accused
It's
of,
the crime, yeah.
and insist on this not guilty plea?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's just, it's thinking. The more I think about it, the crazier it is.
Everybody
just
thinks
witnessed.
it's insane.
Wow.
This lawyer using Johnny's argument,
Yeah.
saying basically,
Interesting.
I didn't make it, so I'm not guilty, even though again I think he did.
And also, like, the whole charge is for the distribution. So they're like, oh, we didn't make it. I did distribute it, though. But I was drunk. That's essentially what we're seeing unfold.
Yes, that's the mental gymnastics that we saw happen today. Lawyer was very flustered, turning red, stuttering. I don't think he has a natural stutter like Hank, but he does have a strange way of talking.
Yeah.
But he definitely seemed very uncomfortable.
These guys were in the courtroom, so we're listening to them because they were in the
Did the
courtroom.
judge give any reaction?
There were
to
other
this,
people
or
feeding
was
me
he
information, but
confused, or how was the judge
I also had
reacting to this?
some info from these guys.
As usual, is very, sort of above everything, above the fray, and was very calm and very patient with the process. But he's also the one who said, "No, you cannot block these witnesses, and no, you cannot extend your,
He got overruled 4 times. Johnny's lawyer was overruled 4 times
Wow.
today. 4
Do you
times
have
today.
any other overall thoughts on this trial?
That was crazy. That was just insane."
Okay. I'll leave it there. You guys can watch the wrap up there on Atozi's channel. Make sure to go give Atozi a like and a share and a subscribe. He was there, sneaky Atozi. He told me, he said, don't tell anybody Legal Mindset, keep it secret. I kept his secrets. But they were in the courtroom. There were a lot of people on the SCT in the courtroom. They were feeding information to me. So it's very good. As you guys can see, everything that I said, Atozi and Gabe confirmed, right? The people that were there confirm what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is just not hearsay. It's not speculation. It's fact. It's objective, right? It's exactly what is consistent with the information I received. It's completely on point. So you have multiple sources of information confirming this as the true and faithful record of what went down in court today. So once again, your source of information for all the trials and giving you these live updates as it develops, right? There will be some people in the chat were asking when we'll get a summary. You're going to get a fast facts today. Give me a couple hours to get it done. I'm going to have to get some food and some coffee after this because I'm going to sure need it. I'm going to get together a generous PP telling you what happened today. This was a disaster. This was a disaster for him. And it was one of the craziest days, and it seems like the craziest day yet. And the next trial date may be even crazier because now we're going to have 2 witnesses and cross-examination. Insane. Norbert Froelich for 10 says, couldn't the judge just rule that admitting the distribution of the DF is already a guilty plea? Yes. But the judge is still allowing him to argue because all it does is make Johnny look worse and make him look unrepentant. Right? It just digs him in deeper. So the judge is allowing him to dig himself in deeper. Omi for 10 euros says, there's a delay in delivery of judgment. Couldn't Johnny Somali bring some sort of constitutional claim? No. Yes and no. Constitutional claims are not free. They cost a lot of money. He does not have the money necessary to bring a constitutional claim up to the Korean Constitutional Court, the Supreme Court. That's not going to happen. Corinthian for 10 says, I'm here a bit late. Not sure if this has been asked already. If the judge wanted to give more than a maximum, no, not more than a maximum. And that's not going to happen. However, he can give whatever range he wants. So he can go as low as he wants, but he has the high end will be challenged. Wendy's Cafe says, we just had 2 premiers in Canada pass a law that the province banned hiking in the woods. Oof, one guy challenged it and they fined him $25K. Ooh, crazy. Tiam said, I never seen someone just hate for the love of the game like you, even hiding legal advice. You can't see it. Absolutely legendary. Well, once again, I don't hate Johnny. So I don't have a personal hate. I have a hate for the crimes he's committed and the wrongs he's done to the Korean people and his unapologetic nature. Once again, it's not about the individual. It's about the actions the individual has exhibited. And those actions are unacceptable. You cannot go to a country and think just because you're American, you can break all the laws you want and they can't do anything to you. That is the most ignorant thing ever. And it harms Americans abroad like me and many other foreigners and people want to travel to this country of Korea and other countries abroad. It sets a bad image for everybody. And it also really, really, really damages relations between Korea and America. Highwind says today is a good day for us, not so much for RKI. I agree. Cryosite says, RKI, now that I'm guilty, can I get reparations? No. Kyle said, so I'm confused. Is he still with Hank or in a sewer? How is he even alive if others sustain him? Hank lied. What it seems like either Hank lied or Johnny lied in court and it's contempt of court. Mr. Alex says Johnny Somali should try nuisance streaming and dancing at the Nanking War Memorial in Nanking and the Monument to the People's Heroes in Beijing. He's not going to be out of Korea anytime soon. Radek said there's apparently a content creator in Czechia getting sued for defamation by a Prague pub over highlighting not strictly legal but weird practices. Interesting. Tells you he's live. Cool. We got that. Mr. Spiegel says, Ramsey, why does it cry, little Ramsey? Korean judge says, here's a rope. Enjoy. That's exactly what he's doing. Let him hang himself. Western Bodie said, had a weird dream of nuclear war. Woke me up. Okay. Nordics not equal to Scandinavia. Yes, exactly. Two different things, right? Because there's obviously like ethnic background, nationality, region, right? I'm trying to articulate these things. Dr. David English says, apply this towards Swedes. Proud Swede ancestry for 2001. Well, hope you're doing well there in Korea. Marshall J. Cooper said, cabbage farm versus Finland and Sweden. I'm undecided. Charles Serva said, this is more surprising than the OG verdict. I know. Prologue says, why does it smell like cooked salami? Because he is absolutely cooked. Is it 5 years per count? No, it's for obstruction. For all of the counts, he can only get a maximum of 5 years. So the maximum he can get for all of the counts is 5 for obstruction. For deepfakes, he can get up to 7. So total, when he's guilty for everything, up to 12. Good question. Felsa said, I'm finna farm cabbages because I'm high. Not an FBI. So Johnny's defense was I was drunk. Really? Well, I guess I could drink and drive, then it'd be fine. Yeah, it's stupid. Zagnas for, I believe, Hungarian Florence 1000. What could be the reasoning for the judge to give minimal sentence? I mean, maximal could be disrespect the nation of Korea and the Koreans as a whole. Minimal could be because they want to get rid of him. Mayor says, wait, you can change your PP yourself? I have to go doctor to modify my PP. Hackfish says, we gotta have GTA 6 before Somali is behind bars. Lot says for €6, even if he didn't, he could have used an AI program. That's the whole point. If you're using AI, you are making it. You're using a tool to make it. James says he was relying on a witness not showing up, and when they did, he pled guilty, or is that an inaccurate summary? No. I think he really thought he could fight it, but once the witness not only showed up, but he knew how bad it was going to look. I think he called it off. It was going to look really bad. Gerard for 10 Norwegian krona. Roy Danina says, why did RK's lawyers have to prove his innocence instead of the prosecutor proving his guilt? They still have to prove his guilt. Roy, you're not getting it, brother. They still have to prove his guilt. But what they asked him for is, do you have any evidence of your innocence? And it doesn't look good if the prosecutors have all the evidence of guilt and you have no evidence of innocence. Yes, it is beyond a reasonable doubt. But think about an American court case. In an American court case, you know what happens? The defense has to present evidence. And yes, they can say, hey, we have nothing. We're not going to present any evidence. They have that right. But guess what? What is likely going to happen if the prosecution has a bunch of evidence and the defense has none? I'm going to tell you, buddy, they're going to be guilty, right? In almost all cases, not all, but almost all, they're going to be guilty. Yes, it's innocent until proven guilty. But if somebody is giving a bunch of evidence and the other side is giving nothing or bad evidence, they're probably going to lose. That's how cases work, right? That's how cases work. All right. Bastian Renner says, I'm not saying that I wish to participate in the Donut War, but I am saying go Denmark. And also thanks for the coverage. My pleasure. Norwegians and Danes know nothing. Sweden forever, says Katsura. Delson Hunter said, good morning from Finland. I'm glad to have this on my 26th birthday. Happy birthday. Luna S says, can't sleep, hot in NYC, so I'm watching the stream and said, cool. Inspector says, I predict Johnny will be late and gay. Better call Saul. Well, he was late. You're right about that. Crip says, greeting from Norway. Love your videos. Thank you. Felix from Sweden says, when is this clown show supposed to start? It is already over. Shreve says, in Vietnam, visiting my wife for the first time live stream, can Ramsey enter Hank's sanity plea? Well, it looks like Hank may have been not telling the truth. He was there in the front row. Johnny said he's still looking as working at his address or living at his address, etc. So I don't know. Mickey D says, what does viewer count say about people wanting justice? It's over 9,000. It was over 10,000, 11,000 at one point. Yuki said hello from Japan. Sorry we didn't handle this guy. It's all right. It's all right. Korea's going to make it right. Jacob Nat from Poland says if Ramsey was diagnosed with R word by the physician, could it help? No. Beautiful Joe says he does not see the obstruction charge as anything serious and basically mock them, and that is to his detriment. Jopi says for 50 Swedish krona, it's simple. He's just trying whatever he can think of to get a lower prison sentence, regardless of whether it has any effect on it whatsoever. He's flailing desperately, and he's using theories from people in his Discord that aren't lawyers, much less South Korean lawyers. They don't know what they're doing. They're throwing all sorts of dirt on Bong Bong, but that has nothing to do with what will actually prove his innocence in a Korean court. Uboot 999 says, you have a few pennies to South Africa. Thank you. Graham Mazdal says, if Johnny isn't condemned to court, how much extra jail time could he face? That could be up to the judge. Wolf brother says, rise up, my fellow Finlanders. Don't let these young colonies show us up in the Dono War. Radiant Storm says, Norwegians are cool. Danes are cringe. Signed, a Swede. Dusty Carrier says, bet the lawyer is begging RK to plead guilty. And he's not listening. I think the lawyer is really against the deepfake charges. So yeah, that might be a thing. Jopi for 50 said, any news on whether RK might be tried for sexual content at Lotte World? Is it too late? No, those are being investigated. He is currently being investigated. Ramsey Khalid Ismail is currently being investigated for child sexual harassment. However, we don't know when those charges will come up or if there'll be a separate case. Brian Kim says, I'm Korean. Let's pretend this is Juan. Korea wins. Bob for 5 says, surely they can't be that stupid to lie on their residency. They are that stupid. They are. Jose Rodriguez says, I wish I was still in Morocco so I could donate in MAD. Oh, that's good. We'd have MAD currency. I'm free in the ears, guys. Free in the ears. Daniel Lawrenson says, what punishment time for Minor Crimes Act? That's only a fine or 30 days in jail. Ryoko said, to use a Korean idiom, the chance of Johnny walking is as good as finding Mr. Kim in all of Seoul. As a joke, guys, there's a lot of Kims in Seoul. Jopi says it's amazing how all this is comparable to overly dramatic court scenes in K-dramas. Yes, guys, there is going to be a K-drama of Johnny Somali. This is going to be made. This is going to happen 100%. I've already told you, like I said, the documentary is coming. IRL. This is going to be a professionally done one, not a joke. It's going to be professional, right? It's going to be good. The documentaries are coming. The K-dramas are coming. Felix Olston says, what do you realistically expect the sentence to be? I think 5 years, 4, 5, 6 years, 4 to 8 years. Somewhere between 4 to 8 years is realistic. LWM says, that's what's happening when you get your lawyer from Timu. Crazy says, RKI doesn't have to mourn the loss of Hank. After sentencing, he'll make close friends. Yank, Spank, and Stank. They love a man that bends the knee. Oliver McCarthy says, Ozzy here, watching with a bottle of popcorn. Scorpion says, memberships on sale, keeping you ahead of Bronca. Thank you. Marcus X says, what's your favorite fast food place? I don't eat fast food, really, although I will occasionally get McDonald's outside the United States because they have other things. Like in Korea, they have a Shanghai wrap that's really good. Also, the mozzarella sticks are good in Korea because Korean cheese. Here, they've got some kind of unique stuff. So sometimes I'll pop in for that. But typically, I don't eat fast food. I typically either have my food cooked at home or I go to local restaurants, typically. But yeah. I guess I like Five Guys. I like Five Guys in Korea because there's one in Gangnam. I usually go to that one. Really nice. Hurtbox TV says, are we sure the lawyer isn't just speed running, getting Johnny a conviction so he doesn't have to keep representing him? But there's no shot he's guilty. There's no shot he's guilty, but he's innocent. That's what he did. He said today he is guilty of the crime based on the statute, but we're still going to say he's not guilty, aka innocent. You can't square that circle. It's crazy. Patrick Elza said, if this child is going to continue to make obviously stupid choices, I mean, it'd be complete insanity. You and me both, brother. Zoe said, love my Scandinavian fam, unless anyone can see it. Grass says VTuber Panko has much more enthusiastic reactions to receiving large amounts of Swedish krona than you. Really? I'll use this then. What's more enthusiastic?
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Make sure to like the video. Cynic says, my prediction, RKI gets aggravated sentence, 10 years. Could happen. Even though it's unrealistic hope he gets a long time. Me too. Big Hen says no Cabbage Patch for Johnny. It's going to be Korean eggplant for him for a few years. His poor little prison pocket. Airdrie says, Dear Denmark, we haven't given up on the idea that Greenland would love to be part of America. Norbert Froelich says Elvis, aka Hank, has left the building. Nicholas says Johnny Dunn, a runner. Well, he was just late. Wandering says his ex-boyfriend is there, but RKI is not. Ben says, my 5 euros says Khalid Rand is almost halfway to Japan in his dinghy, but Hank being there is amazing. I thought they divorced. He would not make it outside the bay in Incheon. CR Peregrine for 2 Australians says, have a gold coin on me. Thank you. Alexa says, RK late. Cabbage Farm. Here he comes. Johnny Somali is 1,000% cooked. Next Nux video. Your antagonist says, yo, my friend and I were trying to see the trial. What courthouse was in? Western District Courthouse of Seoul. It'll be on October 29th. Come back and see it then. Hank killed Johnny. No. Daniel said 1 Danish krona is 1.6 Norwegian. That's all you need to know about which Scandi is the best Scandi. Chris says for 5 euros, Somali and Vitaly are Americans. Somali is American. Vitaly is Russian with an American green card. Because that NYC guy seems confused about nationalities and finances, but we get it. We would also be ashamed for him. Yeah. Rory said to whoever wins the Donut Wars, skull. Mark Wainwright for $1.99. Thank you. CD Spectre says Johnny is cooked and roasted at this point. Agreed. Banana Bread said this is exciting. Thank you. Canada watches. My 12 spoons with Rose says, can Hank's change of address be used against him? Yes, it could if it's inaccurate, which it may be. Or elsewise, it was just Hank lying. And Hank has lied a lot before. James Wideck says, donation war. We Germans want to join. Whoa. Let's perhaps keep the Germans out of this war. I'm just saying. I've already mentioned this through Daytonland once. I'm not trying to get in trouble here. Jordan Joestar gifted 1. Jay Hernandez says, what is the chance Ramsey picking up another charge for his trial date? It's possible. Very possible. I'm going to put it between 40 and 60%. Probably 40%. Well, be conservative. 40%. 40% chance he picks up one more because there's a lot of time. Sir Eric says a new member. Welcome. Yukuya Kitsu Nebi for 599 euros says, how has this case gone so long? With all the videos and streams he made, what he did, wouldn't it already be showing him guilty? No. Yukiya, Korean trials take a long time, especially ones like Johnny's where there's a lot of new charges added. Every time a charge is added, it's delayed a month, and they do 1 hearing at a time. Typically, a Korean court case, even at a minimum, will have like 3 to 5 hearings, minimum. In this case, we have so many new trials, so we're going to have more and more and more, and we've got witnesses. He's fighting it. He's pleading not guilty. And they're all stretched out over months and months. It's not like America or some other countries where trials are 1 week or 2 weeks and then just in a row. That's not how it happens. Pilot Girl says representing Poland, Czechia, and Ireland. Woo! Bruce says for 2 Swiss francs, says just reaffirming Swiss neutrality. That's fine. I like Swiss neutrality. I don't like Swiss prices because I don't want to pay $20 for a Big Mac, but I do like neutrality. BB for a Nung Roy Thai Baht Kopun Kap says Korean prison RKI. Hello, we have room. Have cabbage. Jopi says for 100 Swedish krona, there's no possible way for Denmark, and by extension the EU, to give up Greenland. The reason Trump wants to secure the U.S. own claim to the Arctic for the coming race for rare metals. That's correct. Silver Dragonid says, curious if Hank was threatened of family disownment. Maybe. That's a good theory. And James Hope for 5 says the only way he could possibly win, Denny Crane. If you know, you know. Also, Utah Supremacy from Nurple. And last but not least, Ro Campbell, Gin Blades, says Norway #1, just wanted to say. All right, guys, we're going to have a fast fact summarizing this in a bit. I got to work on this. It's been crazy. We had 11,000 people in the chat today. So many people supporting, so many people coming through. Thank you for appreciating the coverage, for supporting my channel, for making this happen. I could not do it without you guys. Make sure to smash a like. And also, if you want to support the channel, if you really want to help, truly want to help, go over to Ko-Fi and support the Mindset team. These guys are the ones that were inside the courtroom. It was Danielle, JP modding for me. Go support the team. Show them some love. Ko-Fi/Andrew Esquire. It will be much appreciated. But until next time, guys, we know what Ramsey is doing. Hold on. Icon Bear says, you certainly keep smiling in hard times. Thank you. And Lune says, here's some support from the UK at work, mostly lurking. Also in that Johnny and Hank arrived separately, but did they leave together? I think they left together. Shaolin for 30 also says, general question, how unusual it is for a judge to tell the prosecution in the arguments that they can't prove a charge. What would happen if the prosecution insists? They can. But once again, that didn't happen in Korea. Usually the prosecution has evidence, especially in Korea. Chris says, if he gets 5 years, will 1 year be deducted? No. Clan says, when you tally up the Scandy money, just keep in mind that every one Danish corner is worth 1.5 and 1.6. Okay, Scandies. Okay, we're going to do some math. Marks said Utah didn't compete because they already won. All right, guys, until next time, don't be coping and see.
You are coping the seething. You just can't believe what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping the seething. The truth it is all day, and now you are more